Conditional inch. Conditional inch. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. This is the Gematria Effect. I'm Zachary K. Hubbard. And if you're new here, we're on every Wednesday night. We're also streaming on YouTube. GematriaEffectNews 25 is the latest channel. Thanks to all the big tech censorship. With the focus right now of the nation being on the Roe v. Wade leak from last week, May 2nd, I thought it'd be appropriate to talk about how easily we allow ourselves to get played as a populace. And it should be obvious to everyone that abortion is used as a carrot on a stick by politicians to get votes. A lot of people, that is their sole issue that they vote on. It's a very charged issue. It always brings out a lot of people on both sides of the aisle. And you know, Roe v. Wade being used like bait in an election year 2022 at about the midway point in the year, about 6 months out from the election. And again, I mean, if people just take a minute to stop and think about pretty much everything that's done to us with the news and the government, it really is just an obvious agenda to keep us, you know, giving up our rights and liberties, to keep us voting for one party or the other that really doesn't seem to ever change anything. There's always a new war. There's always a new reason to take away more rights and liberties. There's always a new reason for more taxes. And again, we allow ourselves to get played by this very transparent system. 9/11, obvious lie that led us into 20 years of war where certain corporations profited a lot while people lost their, you know, their children, mostly young men, some fathers, some sons, some young women too. And not to mention all the other people that were needlessly killed all over the world in the names of these wars that come out of lies like 9/11, lies like Pearl Harbor. Again, so obvious that they're all from the same gang. They put it in your face. They rub it in your face. Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 127. They call 9/11 the new Pearl Harbor. What happened that day? Buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell. Anthony C. Davison in the UK, who does great gematria work. He just reminded me about the sinking of, what is it, the Lusitania? They say 127 people were killed on that. That got us into a war. Again, just the same numbers all throughout history and numbers that are symbolic of certain gangs who are behind the rituals. Again, people laugh at the word Illuminati when it's a historical fact. May 1st, 1776, just before the American Revolution. But again, that's the thing about the people who rule over us, who mock us, who give us these transparent rituals. They are into Kabbalah. And by understanding the things they're into, you can see through the things that they're doing. And you know, for the past week, there's been a lot of focus on Amy Coney Barrett in regards to the Roe v. Wade upcoming reversal, which is being anticipated now since the supposed leak. But again, Amy Coney Barrett's in focus because she's the conservative Catholic who replaced the Jewish liberal Ruth Bader Ginsburg after she died on Rosh Hashanah on the anniversary of the cornerstone being laid for Washington, D.C. That was September 18th, 2020, that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. And, of course, that's the day in history the CIA was created. Big day for Washington, D.C., over and over, September 18th. But, yeah, the thing about Amy Coney Barrett becoming the focus, how she's the one that shifted the balance of the court with her replacing Ginsburg. And remember, the new ritual, the new justice that will be coming in, Ketanji Brown Jackson, again, even though she's the latest member to be accepted to the court, she still isn't officially on the bench yet. Breyer hasn't retired. But just notice. Amy Coney Barrett, she turned 50 years old to start this year, born January 28th, 72. She was born less than a year after the less than a year before the Roe v. Wade decision, which would be January 22nd, 1973. So she turned 50 years old. And what's interesting is from her birthday, January 28th, to the Roe v. Wade leak, May 2nd, that was 94 days later. Remember, Argentina just legalized abortion 94 days after their president's birthday. In Gematria, when you run the alphabetic order forwards, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, up to Z the 26th, letter B in 26. When you add up abortion, it equals 94. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, abortion equals 122, and May 2nd's the 122nd day of the year, kind of like how the Roe v. Wade decision was on January 22nd, 122. And if you use numerology, abortion equals 50, again, 94 days after Barrett's 50th birthday on the 122nd day of the year. Again, Gematria, there's 4 ciphers, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with numerology. 3 out of the 4 ciphers clearly factor in to the abortion ritual and how it's synced up with Amy Coney Barrett, who's the focus, because again, she tipped the court towards now it can be reversed. And again, what this reveals is what I've been saying all this time, that these federal offices are illegitimate because they're controlled by the cabal, where they use these puppets, these politicians, these justices to carry out their rituals that effectively are only here to keep people divided and lead us down the path of an agenda, which is, again, always giving up more rights and liberties and undermining what America is supposedly all about. And with regards to this pattern, I thought I'd go back and look at history. Well, here, consider this today. Today in the news, you might have heard that the Senate voted down what they're calling the Women's Health Protection Act. Today, the Senate voted no on that. And what's interesting is that bill passed the House September 24th, 2021, apparently in anticipation of Roe v. Wade being overturned, which has been a possibility for some time because the courts become more conservative than liberal. But from the day that the House voted yes for this bill to the day that the Senate voted no is 229 days later. And remember, that's the 50th prime number. Prime numbers are numbers that can only be divided by one of themselves. 229 days ago, the 50th prime, this abortion-related law, when abortion equals 50. By the way, not only does abortion equal 50, so does Washington, so does America, so does Jesuits. Think about this land, the land of 50 states and 1 million territories where the capital's in Washington. So 50, it goes beyond abortion. Remember, abortion equals 122 as well. So does satanic. Satanic equals 122 and 50. Abortion equals 122 and 50. San Francisco equals 122 and 50, where the satanic church was established. The 49ers were once 5-0 in Super Bowls like 50. They hosted Super Bowl 50. Super Bowl 54, the 50th Super Bowl of the modern era. That was the year the 49ers lost to the Chiefs, where Chiefs also equals 50 like San Francisco. And that year we saw that could be the Super Bowl in week 3 because on the date 22/9, the 49ers got their 229th home win all time. They did it over Pittsburgh, which equals 50 like San Francisco, on the perfect date, 229, the 50th prime in the year of the 50th Super Bowl of the modern era, where they went on to play the other 50 team in the AFC, the Chiefs. And again, that was the Joe Montana Bowl, Super Bowl 54, where Joe Montana's 54. But the point I'm trying to make to you is these numbers, these patterns, it's the same Jesuits that control your federal government, that control your nightly news, that control your rig sports leagues, and they're doing the same type of rituals all over the place. And today I just decided to look up what the first act of violence was in the U.S. in relation to abortion, since right now you have Antifa threatening to burn American cities down if Roe v. Wade's overturned. Again, that federal operation. Shout out to Nathan, who re-uploaded our clip from over a year ago talking to the Seattle police about why they don't do anything about Antifa, and they told us it's because the city council tells them to stand down. So again, your politicians telling your order-following cops what to do, who's allowed to get away with crime, who isn't, same way it's always been. But it's so obvious Antifa's this federal agenda to bring more division and chaos into society, and realize that's what they're doing, right? Black Lives Matter, Antifa, now Roe v. Wade with Antifa and Black Lives Matter on top of it. Again, just all these things coming to a head. People stressed out, frustrated, everything that COVID's done to people's psychology, just everything going on right now. All of these orchestrated agendas, all by a very sophisticated but simple to see through code. But anyway, I decided to look up the first act of violence in abortion in America. Turns out it came Thursday, August 19th, 1982, and it was the Army of God who kidnapped and threatened to kill an abortion doctor if Ronald Reagan didn't overturn Roe v. Wade. Notice how Army of God has Gematria 50 like abortion does. And the doctor who was kidnapped, his name was Dr. Hector Zavalos, which equals 229, the 50th prime, just like how today's abortion vote was 229 days after the House voted on it. And again, 229 is the 50th prime number. Not only does abortion equal 50, I'm being redundant so it sticks in your head, Washington equals 50. I'll put it on the screen if you're watching. Washington is 50. America is 50. Jesuits is 50. And another interesting word is circle equals 50. And the reason that matters is because in magic, which this code's related to, the first thing you do to cast a spell is draw a circle. And of course, we use the word spell for magic and the creation of words. And the circle is very important to geometry, where gematria means geometry and language. And again, we are in the 50th year of Roe v. Wade. It'll officially turn 50 years old on January 22nd, 2023. So right now we're in that 50th year, building up to the 50-year anniversary. And again, you just got to say, what are the odds of all these things? And I'm sure if we went through and looked at all the acts of vandalism that have been big news stories over the years, we'd see the same numbers again and again, because that's the way this is. And for the record, this news came on Ronald Reagan's 187th. I take it back. I made a mistake. Disregard that. But yeah, anyway, what's going on with the abortion and just all the ritual, the 122nd day of the year, synced up so perfectly with the latest puppet stooge up there, Amy Coney Barrett. It's just, again, it's par for the course. And today I also got the bright idea. I said, you know what? Since we're always documenting how the Supreme Court does everything by the numbers, let's go back and look at the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in the first ever Supreme Court decision. So the first ever Supreme Court justice was John Jay. And the first decision by the Supreme Court was August 3rd, 1791. August 3rd, 1791. In the U.S., we write it most commonly 8-3 like 83. The name John Jay in the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order. J is the 10th letter of the order. O is the 15th. H is the 8th. N is the 14th. J is the 10th. A is the 1st. Y is the 25th. If you add up those letters, John Jay is 83. Like the decision 8-3. He's the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Originally, the Supreme Court was one Chief Justice and 5 associates to either go with or against his decision. But what else is interesting is if you call him by his full title, Chief Justice John Jay, guess what that equals? 201, like the Jesuit order, who've stamped 201 all over this nation's history, from the CIA to Inauguration Day. And just recently, the most recent Supreme Court Justice ritual, Breyer announced that he would be retiring 201 days before his August 15th birthday, which is also the same birthday as the Jesuit order. They were created August 15th, 1534 in Paris, France. And then they nominated Ketanji Brown Jackson on February 25th, 201 days before her upcoming birthday. And keep in mind, she was nominated on the 56th day of the year, like the first black presidential winner was of the 56th presidential election, kind of like how Kamala took the White House at age 56. And then she's picked on the 56th day of the year, and Black Lives Matter equals 56, like Society of Jesus. And don't forget what happened on February 25th this year as well. In Alabama, Alabama equals 56 in Gematria. The first black person to be accepted to the University of Alabama had a building named after them on the 56th day of the year, and she became a student there in 1956. And then, on March 2nd, just days after, she dropped dead. And again, just par for the course. Rituals, close to the rituals, deaths. You know, it's just over and over, just the same old stuff. In the UK, again, Captain Tom was such a clear example of the way they do these rituals last year. Captain Tom gets knighted. He dies 201 days later, supposedly from coronavirus, and died 56 days after the first people were vaccinated in the UK for coronavirus, the first person being Maggie Keenan, whose name equaled 56, like coronavirus, like COVID vaccine. And also like Burma campaign equals 56, and that's what Captain Tom was known for, the Burma campaign. By the way, did you guys know George Orwell, his first book is about his days in Burma? I did not know that. Supposedly his days as a police officer in British-ruled Burma is what inspired him to write all of his books. Animal Farm, 1984. The reason that blows my mind is because Sweet Lady's from Burma and she has the same birthday as George Orwell. And I didn't realize that all this time. Anyway. Chief Justice John Jay, the original 201, the first Supreme Court Chief Justice. His name also has the same numbers, again, in the 4-base ciphers. He's got the other numbers for the Jesuit order and Order of Illuminati. And again, the Illuminati, founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, who died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. That Illuminati that was established right before the American Revolution. And what else is interesting about that first ever decision by the Supreme Court on August 3rd? It was 144 days before the current Pope's birthday. His birthday was Christmas Day, go figure, 1225, square root 35. Like Catholics 35, like the first Catholic president, number 35. But the decision was 144 days before his birthday when Jesuit Orders 144. Again, the Jesuit Orders 201. Jesuit Orders 144. And we've seen how these numbers come together so often in rituals. JFK, he met with the Pope, whose birth name equaled 201, and died a span of 144 days from that meeting. Biden, he had his son die 201 days before the Pope's birthday. He had Jesuit Georgetown simulate the election in his favor 144 days before the election, that he would win narrowly. Trump would refuse to step down. It would lead to violence in the streets of America, which happened at the staged Capitol insurrection, which was another huge 201 ritual. But again, the 201 in the Biden thing is also that, again, the same Jesuit priest who was the president of Georgetown, he did the funeral for Beau Biden and the inauguration for Joe Biden. Beau Biden dead at 46. Joe Biden, the inauguration of number 46 on 20/1. And his name, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, equals 201. So again, you had the 201s all over it, and then the election simulated in favor of Biden by Jesuit Georgetown 144 days before November 3rd, June 12th, 2020. It's called the Transition Integrity Project, TIP. And, there's a lot of this. But I bring it up with the two Catholic presidents, Biden and JFK. Remember, JFK was number 35, Biden's number 46. JFK was killed at 46. Biden was elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday and inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. Catholic equals 35 forwards, 46 in reverse. What are the odds? The only two Catholic presidents, 35 and 46 to date. And, but yeah, I mean, like I've said, you go through the history books, because we've done this with a lot of old history. It's all by the numbers. It's the same patterns throughout history. It's the evidence of the secret societies, the Jesuits, the Masons, the same entities that still rule D.C. today. You know? Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. By the way, also interesting, the date of the first ever Supreme Court decision, August 3rd, 1791, that was a date with 119 numerology. The word foundation equals 119, right? The first ever landmark decision for the Supreme Court, the foundation. And keep in mind, words like Vatican equal 119, and this was synced with the Pope back then on Vatican Hill. And, you know, there's been a lot of Supreme Court justices where I live right now, Yakima, Washington. The federal building here is named after the one Supreme Court justice who's from this town of Yakima, Washington, William O. Douglas. He died January 19th, 1980. Not only could that day be written 1/19 like 119, he died on a date that had numerology of 119 as well. 1 plus 19 plus 19 plus 80 is 119. And, yeah, again, you just go back through history, you just see it all. John Jay was part of the signing of the Treaty of Paris that was America winning the Revolutionary War, and just all of these rituals are by the numbers. If you want to read more about this, it's on my website, GematriaEffect.news. But again, just the same Jesuit fingerprints all throughout history. Perhaps I should point out that the Treaty of Paris was agreed to September 3rd, 1783. John Jay was the first American to sign on it. 83, just like how his name equals 83. John Jay, 83, first decision on 8-3. And the signing, that date, was his 266th day of his age. Remember the Jesuit motto, Isus hominum salvator, equals 266. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope, the 266th. His big day in D.C., September 23rd, 2015, was the 266th day of the year. And don't forget, his birth name equals 201, and he's the first Jesuit pope and the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. And it was the Treaty of Paris. The Jesuits are from Paris, France. The last French pope was the 201st. The Scottish Rite came to power in France. Again, D.C., the land of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry and the Jesuits. I mean, our entire history, guys, this nation's been under the same control the whole time. And that's what people need to wake up to. Instead of like arguing about history that happened before you. That's what the whole world's caught up in. Stuff that happened before they were alive. They believe in this bullshit religion that happened 2,000 years before they were alive. They believe in this bullshit history where all of this supposed history and greatness, it's never reflected in our own lives. We've never had freedom. We've never really had freedom of speech. We've never really had any of the rights that we supposedly think we have that we learn about in slave school. You know? It could be a lot worse. That's what I was saying. Well, it's a lot worse in other places. It's like, okay, so that's your benchmark, huh? So you're okay with being lied to for 13 years and having this false understanding of reality. And as long as you can say to yourself, well, it's even worse in other places, and then you actually ask them, you're like, well, have you actually been to other places? And they're like, well, no, but I've watched the news. You know, it's like, oh, okay, so your entire opinion about our reality is based on more bullshit. Okay. And sadly, that's exactly what it is. By the way, that's why Network will always be probably the best movie that was ever made, because of the bullshit rant. If you've never seen the movie Network, you need to watch that movie. Came out in the 70s. And it foretold what news media was going to be more and more about. Entertainment, ratings, bullshit, mind control. And it certainly is. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about that. Trump's also being made fun of for his hurricane gun comment. And again, while there's probably not a hurricane gun, there definitely is weather modification and manipulation, something we've been proving for a long time. Don't forget in 2020 when we circled all the 52-date numerology, said look out for hurricanes on all these dates, and hurricanes literally hit on every single one of the dates, which was like 8 dates, except for one, and the one day it didn't hit on was a day that a hurricane formed in the ocean. So we were like 7 for 8 on all the dates we listed at the beginning of hurricane season. Because again, hurricane equals 52 and flood, and we've been documenting that pattern for years. And then 2020, we said, here, let's write them all out before they even come around. And then boom, 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 boom. Hurricanes just landing perfectly on every day. And again, don't forget, Vice News, if you guys want to look up the articles from years ago, Vice News wrote the article making fun of me on my research about weather warfare, hurricanes, the number 52. And again, because we knew that, it allowed us to predict that the Astros would beat the Dodgers in the World Series the year Harvey made landfall. By the way, the thing about Harvey and Trump being made fun of right now for his hurricane gun comment, if you didn't know about this, the article that's getting syndicated everywhere making fun of this is the Huffington Post, and the person they chose to write the article making fun of him, their name was Josephine Harvey. And as you'll recall, what I wrote about that Vice News made fun of is how Matt Harvey was the first pitcher to pitch in Houston after the flooding of Harvey. And remember the night that the floodwaters were coming down, TMZ was so focused on Steve Harvey and the Floyd Mayweather fight, how he had the best seats in the house. But anyway, Matt Harvey was the first pitcher to pitch in Houston, and it was exactly 52 days before the start of the World Series. And I said right there, I said, that's your World Series. We'll be right back, Truth Seeker. Sit tight.
When you hear the word attack, the word attack is not you don't feel low, you don't feel high. It's a cut. It's attack. Yeah. Attack means you got a target. Attack. You going to destroy. You going to handle whatever it is you need to handle. So for me, I'm attacking every part of what affects a child's life. So the leaders that are in the school, if they're not exhibiting the right qualities that they need to exhibit, I'm attacking them. I'm challenging them. If the leaders in the home are not exhibiting the qualities and they need to exhibit to help nurture this child, I'm attacking them. I'm attacking them in a way that I'm helping them, but I'm attacking them. I'm there to help you out. That's my mission. I'm ready to attack this problem that you're facing. Let me help you out. And then I'm attacking the students as well. I'm attacking their ability or lack of ability to challenge themselves to be.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine. Great for heart palpitations. By Anne. Before I started using this product, every afternoon, my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc. I love this product. It really works. By Brad. Works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Hey everyone, it's Mark Sargent from Strange World, broadcasting live every Tuesday evening, 10 to 12 Eastern, 7 to 9 Pacific, right here on True Frequency Radio. Strange World covers a wide range of topics, from enclosed world theory to lunar waves to the end of the world in film. It's basically doomsday with a silver lining. With the audience as my co-host, we take an optimistic approach to all things conspiracy and promote confidence, hope, and humor whenever possible. If there's a topic you want us to cover or a guest you would like to see interviewed, please email me at msargent23@comcast.net. So please join me and tell your friends about Truth Frequency Radio, the leader in real radio programming, bringing you quality, cutting-edge broadcasts from around the world.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. It is Rambo's time to shine, and he's going to be with us in just a moment, but I'm going to let one person cut in line, and it's because he's a longtime veteran. He's actually even called in longer to the show than Rambo has. He was the original veteran caller who brought a brilliant contribution to the table each week, and I know that he's normally working when the show's going on, so we don't hear from him so much, but he is here with us tonight. And Zenith of the Alpha, I got the telephone keypad up on the screen. So what do you want to share with us tonight?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on?
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, so I had a short decode about the Queen, and most of the gematria I'm going to use has to do with the telephone's keypad. And I don't know if you can see it on the screen how the numbers are attached to those letters, but everybody's telephone keypad is the same thing. Even if you have an old rotary dial phone, those same numbers are going to be attached to the same letters. So the Queen is attached to the number 75 in a big way. And everybody's talking about, oh, she's getting old, she's going to die. But there's also possibility that she'll abdicate the throne. And that's a phrase that equals 75 in a keypad cipher. Queen Elizabeth II equals 75 with the keypad cipher. Her birthday is April 21st, which falls 75 days before July 5th. July 5th can appear as 7-5. She became queen because her father, George VI, died, and if we use the full reduction gematria cipher, George VI equals 75. His death occurred on February 6th, 1952. That means he died 75 days before Elizabeth's next birthday. Now, there's a phrase, God Save the Queen. That's the title of the national anthem there. God Save the Queen equals 75 with the keypad cipher. Elizabeth's son, Charles, is next in line to be king. And when that happens, they'll say, long live the king, right? Well, using the keypad cipher, long live the king equals 75. Charles's first wife, very famous, Princess Diana, she died 75 days before Charles's birthday. She died August 31st. Charles's birthday is November 14th. Now, from Charles's birthday last year, going backwards 7 months, 5 days, that brings you to April 9th, which was when his father, Philip, died. Philip, the Queen's husband. Using Charles's birthday again, going forward 7 months, 5 days, that brings you to the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson's birthday, June 19th. And I don't know. So I just think whether it's abdication or she dies somehow it's going to connect to the number 75. And I think people need to look at the keypad cipher a bit more. But I know we have a timer, so I'll leave it at that. But it's nice to talk to you again, Jack.
Yeah, of course. It's good to hear from you, too. And by the way, I fully endorse the keypad cipher. You called in, it was probably, when did you first bring this up? It was probably 2018, the keypad cipher. And we started looking at things, and we found all sorts of things right away. It's just, the reason I don't use it that much is because, again, even with inside the base ciphers, you can prove all the points you're looking for. You start using more ciphers, it gives all the lemmings a reason to say, oh, he's just got more ciphers, so I'm just going to turn my mind off even more. But
yeah, for sure.
But I'm going to say, like, what you're doing, I see how you've really focused. Ever since you brought this to our attention, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago, I want to say it was 2018, I see that most of your work, it seems to be based in this keypad cipher now, and you're showing a lot of really interesting things there. And I mean, it only makes sense. These people like to code. I mean, there's another system where it's right in front of your face, letters and numbers, and it's right there for all to see. So appreciate the work. Again, if you guys don't know who this is Zenith of the Alpha. If you don't know who he is, you probably weren't back here in the original days of the show in 2016. He used to call in every week, but he's a busy man, and he has a great YouTube channel, Zenith of the Alpha. All right, friend, I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Zach.
All right, yeah, have a good night. All right, and Rambo is on, of course, and I don't mean to hold Rambo over, but I just know Zenith the Alpha, he's normally working, and, so he wants to be in and out when he does call in. And by the way, Rambo also has a very awesome YouTube channel, The Truth Codes, and can't wait to hear what he's got for us tonight. Uh-oh. Rambo?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. I got my first strike on the channel. It's not okay, technically it's not a strike. You get 4 strikes.
You got a warning.
So the first strike is a warning, but
that's a new thing. It didn't used to be that way. It didn't used to be that way, so you could say, well, that's the nicest thing YouTube's done. They've changed this thing where you get a warning. But usually once you get your first warning, your first strike's not too far behind. So what did they strike you for?
Yeah, so to me it appears that this is a transgender topic. To me it appears it's a very sensitive topic. That's like talking about the pandemic thing, and I actually went out of my way not to use any key phrases. I didn't say transgender. I didn't say, penis or anything. To me, it appears that somebody sent a complaint. So you can contact YouTube and say, I see a video, and in this video, they are, they are whatever. They're doing whatever. I believe there's a violation in this video. It's not. It didn't seem like the type of thing that an AI would pick up. AI picks up key phrases and stuff.
Right.
And yeah, this is about the Johnny Depp finger severing, and I don't know in the depth of what that code is. It's a Freemasonic code, so I must have upset a Freemason. I explain what that is, but it's not on YouTube anymore. So I did start BitChute. It's called The Truth Codes on BitChute. The Truth Codes, there's no gap. And then I did start a channel on Odyssey, but for some reason, I don't know how Odyssey works, so that you can't find my channel unless, if I send someone a link, they can click the link and go to my Odyssey channel. But if you search for The Truth Code on Odyssey, it just doesn't show up. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know if they're waiting for you to, build an audience or put more videos on, but you can't find it unless I send someone a link. So
Rambo.
I don't know. That's how Odyssey.
Okay, I don't know if you did this already, but when you sign up for Odyssey, it's best to plug in your login for your YouTube account as your login, because then it will detect that you have a YouTube channel and it'll back up those videos. And the best it does it backing up is when you first plug it in and it goes through your channel and backs it up. Sometimes it tries to back up each video as you upload or stream to YouTube, but it'll end up missing a lot and you have to manually do it. It's a lot to keep up with. But I think once you have enough videos on there, then it'll start to show up. Because I've had that problem before, too, where the channel's not showing up at first, but then it starts to show up. So.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, maybe that'll do. So right now I only have that video on. But yeah, this said cyberbullying.
Yeah.
I think what is that?
I was going to say, it seems like in the last 2 years, the 3 things that I've mostly gotten strikes for is anytime just talking about a transgender story and the code behind it. And again, I get the same thing, cyberbullying. It's like cyberbullying. I'm showing the repetitive pattern of the same number in the type of story. And Bill Gates, can't really say much about Bill Gates. And there might be a closer link between those two topics than we know. And then the other one, of course, is, anything related to COVID. But yeah, it's too bad. And everybody knows that you're very polite the way you say things. I'm a lot more abrasive than you are. So, I mean, if they're taking down your video for cyberbullying, I mean, that is really lame. Did you try to appeal it?
I guess I still could. I was thinking maybe not bother, but...
It's worth it, because I'd say about 1 out of every 10 appeals I do actually works. I mean, that's not a high percentage, but sometimes they actually recognize the appeal, so you might want to try.
Okay. I guess I got nothing to lose.
Right, exactly.
But I didn't use any key. I actually went out of my way not to use any key phrases. I didn't even say transgender, but yeah, there's a code there, a couple of codes. So one is a Freemasonic. It's undeniable. I use the examples and the terminology, and that's why I feel like there's some reason they want us to look at this Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. It just doesn't make sense. On the surface of it, it's so trivial. It's like two high school people, bickering. I'm sure it's traumatic for those involved, but why does the public need this degree of, exposure to it?
Right.
Yeah, there's more to it. There's always a subliminal, and I wasn't going to touch it. I was going out of my way not to touch it, but when you decode, people want to know, like, oh, Rambo, could you look at this if you see something? And then I finally started seeing things. So yeah, they didn't. Yeah. So that's what happened with that. That's what. In fact, there was one time I was actually talking about the topic on this channel. I didn't realize it, but they cut the feed right while I was the YouTube cut while I was doing my presentation on this topic. I didn't know at the time. I found out.
Yeah, I think it was it when you were covering Ellen Page?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. We lost a whole live stream, and it was the night you were covering that. So, yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
So
this is a perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Rambo. You go ahead. My fault.
I was going to say this is a perfect segue because at that time I was decoding when Elliot Page showed up on the cover of Time magazine, and I decoded the symbolism on the Time magazine cover. Well, I didn't anticipate this, but this is a perfect segue because I have a Time magazine cover headlining my Decode Today, which is Mental Health and the CIA's Project MK Naomi. Not many people have heard of Project MK Naomi, but it actually preceded MK Ultra. It's part of MK Ultra. And the Time magazine cover has Naomi Osaka. So, perfect segue. Talk about Time magazine covers. And this is coming on the heels of the death of Naomi Judd. So I think we see what the common theme is here. And so it's about mental health, and celebrities are used to bring awareness to certain issues because of their status on people's consciousness. They are very effective in bringing awareness or actually having people think in certain ways about a topic. As a celebrity, that's why they're there. The A-list celebrities are controlled for a reason. And mental health, it could be a perfectly positive motive. Bring awareness to this important issue. And if it is a positive motive, nonetheless, it's being done by a code. And that's what I'm showing here. And MK Ultra is not something mild or positive. It's not. MK Ultra wasn't a mental health program by the United States government. It was to improve. No, it wasn't. It was mind manipulating. It was brutal. It's psychopathic, and they actually are using MK Ultra imagery in the mental health field in general. Which if it's a positive thing, which mental health awareness is a positive thing, why are they using MK Ultra imagery, which is what I'm demonstrating here? I think you can already see that from what I've right off the bat. What I've shown. So on April 30th, 2022, Naomi Judd, most people have heard of Naomi Judd, not everyone may have, but she's won 5 Grammys and a whole slew of other awards. So she's an all-time legend, especially in the country music, the commercial country music genre. You could say she's a goat too. You could say she's a goat of country music. And she died on April 30th. And that's an important date, as I'll show. It's a very significant date to this topic of mental health. And they say that the reason that she died was suicide, which she committed after a long battle with clinical depression. So clinical depression, mental health, is said to be actually what have led to her death eventually. So she's become a symbol of mental health. And she died on April 30th, which is, like I said, I'll explain later what that is. Now, another person who is, there's been others, only 2, but I'm focusing on these 2 because they are going by specific codes. So, the heir apparent to Serena Williams, talking about a GOAT. Serena Williams is the GOAT of female tennis. She's one of the GOATs. And the person who was considered to be the heir apparent to Serena Williams was Naomi Osaka, because she was winning majors She was accumulating majors at a young age at a rapid pace, and it all came to a sudden halt when she said that she was suffering from clinical depression, and she had to step away from tennis. And this is headline news. It was even outside of, it transcended the sports pages. This became, it went into the health field, or just general news categories, where the heir apparent to Serena Williams, the most dominant female tennis player, still at a young age, was putting a halt, a temporary halt on her career because of mental health, depression. We saw with Simone Biles as well. So it's something they've been using celebrities to push. It seems positive on the surface, and if people do benefit from it as well, but when you see the coding they're using, it's not, you wonder, like, there's some other motive. Hopefully it is something that's going to help people. But so I've shown the pattern here. It's Naomi. Naomi Osaka, who's now the face of celebrity, the face of mental health, and Naomi Judd. These are the two faces, and their names are both Naomi. The CIA had a project most people have heard of, MK Ultra, but they aren't. It was MK Ultra is a mind control program that emerged after World War II. This is by the CIA, United States government, which already had its own mind control programs. They had Project Artichoke and Project Bluebird. What Bluebird logo do we see very prevalent? That's related to. Those are the CIA programs. But after World War II, they had Project Operation Paperclip, where Nazi scientists came to the United States. Some went to Russia as well. They didn't all come to the United States. Some went to the Soviet Union. But the Nazi mind control program was well advanced of anything the United States. It was way beyond Project Bluebird, Project Artichoke. It was at another level. It was like the epitome, cream of the crop of mind control, and that was MK Ultra. So it's called MK because control in Germany starts with a K in German. If it was English, it'd be called MC Ultra, but it's MK, Controller, how they say it in German. And that's MK Ultra. It's a Nazi program the U.S. government has used. And that's not the only Nazi influence the United States government has, and other governments. That's another topic. And so MK Ultra technically was terminated in 1973. They had the Church Commission, the famous Church Commission, which supposedly, it revealed to the public MK Ultra, but almost all the documentation there was shredded or just not released. And if you are familiar with MK Ultra and its techniques and its images, you realize that it never stopped. It never stopped. I mean, they're waving in your face with things like this, with Naomi Osaka and Naomi Judd being the face of being the face of mental health when the predecessor of MK Ultra was MK Naomi. So they're waving in our faces. People don't know that, but that's why we do this. We decode these things. And
what do you think about?
They're waving in your face that.
Remember, what do you think about Maggie Keenan, MK, being the first person to get the COVID vaccine in the world?
That's a good one too, because that's along the lines of what I'm doing in this decode. Because you're absolutely right. That's one of the ways they do it. This is a really central part. That's why I talk about it so much. It's very central. They're manipulating people's minds. They're manipulating people's perceptions. They want the United States, the whole world, they want us to perceive the world in a certain way. And I think that goes to the human mind's ability to manifest. And I think that's what it goes to. So they want to manipulate the way we perceive the world, so we think in a certain way, so that we manifest a certain reality. So they are, it's very, central to the, you can call it New World Order, Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, plan, is, controlling human minds is at the heart of it. And subliminals, I mean, when we see these things, they may not seem like they're that effective. I mean, they're masters of psychology. They know that these subliminals, so how well these subliminals work. And so, yes, that's Maggie Keenan. I didn't think of that one. And there are many. Once you notice it, you'll start to see many examples. You'll see a lot of comments. People will comment, and they'll all come up with how often you see MK. And I showed some of the others. I have some examples in this decode. So you're right. Maggie Keenan, absolutely. That's related to the virus. And remember how toilet paper was such a big issue when the pandemic first started. There was everyone just this mad rush on toilet paper, which made no sense. And in Gematria, all 4 base ciphers, how toilet paper lines up with mind control in all 4 base ciphers. So yeah, we've seen already how central this is to them and how subliminally they push it. Maggie Keenan on the same topic. And again, MK. So I quote from a book called "Your Thoughts Are Not Your Own." It's not a dense book. It's a quick read, but it's very well referenced. It's by Neil Sanders. It's volume 1 and volume 2. I always recommend this book. So it's not like a big, thick encyclopedia like Fritz Springmeier's book. It's very readable and very well referenced, very well researched. It's called "Your Thoughts Are Not Your Own." So I quote that's actually where I came across MK Naomi. I was just reading the book, and I came across MK Naomi, and this was after Naomi Osaka was in the headlines as having to take a break from tennis, and then it clicked right there. MK Naomi, no wonder they're using her. And then this happened. Naomi Judd did, so okay, I've got to do a decode on this. And I got this from reading his book. That's where I came up with. Then I looked on Wikipedia. I didn't realize Wikipedia actually had a page on MK Naomi. It's like, no one's heard of MK Naomi. Everyone's heard of MK Ultra, not everybody, but not many people heard of this. So we see what they're doing here. So MK Ultra installs alter personalities, alter egos, and I gave an example. This video is a great video with. It's done in French, and maybe it's not a very clear video. I can't find the original. Maybe it's out there in English. It has subtitles, but there's English talking with French subtitles and there's some blaring music over it. But it's a very important video. It's testimony from Serena Williams and Tiger Woods, where they describe. Essentially, they don't use the term, but they're describing MK Ultra. They were used to MK Ultra. This is a smoking gun. It's right from the horse's mouth. They describe the alter egos. They describe the amnesia, the blackouts, where it's another person performing. Tiger Woods said it. Serena Williams said it. Serena Williams describes, I think, 5 different alter egos. That's why I think it's an important video to see. It's straight from the people themselves. It's not from a conspiracy channel. It's from their mouths. And so, look at where we're going with this here. It's just Maggie Keenan. Megyn Kelly, of all people, why Megyn Kelly it's a fake public dispute with Naomi Osaka. After Naomi Osaka came out with her disclosure of her mental problems, there was this dispute between Megyn Kelly, the superstar cable news host, and Naomi Osaka, where she was saying controversial things, like really insensitive things, and she's being chastised for being insensitive to a person who's coming out with mental issues. Well, it's all fake, and like you pointed out, Maggie Keenan, why did they pick Megyn Kelly of all people to start this? It's because of her initials, MK. That's not a coincidence. They made a huge deal of it. Now, another subliminal with MK Ultra is the beer Michelob Ultra. And it's no surprise that who endorses, among other people, Michelob Ultra? Serena Williams, who has admitted that she has alter ego. She more or less admitted she's an MK Ultra monarch, which, again, she's a victim that was done to her. It's not something she chose. So, there's no reason to look down on her for it. It's something that was done to her at an early age. She had no say in it, and there's no way to resist when it's done. When they start as a child, the child really can't defend themselves. So they're victims. They're very much victims. And so she's used to endorse Michelob Ultra, and that's an MK Ultra, subliminal. And you see some of the athletes, so you have to wonder about some of the athletes. Not every athlete is going to come out and admit it the way Serena does. But you see some of the athletes that are endorsing Michelob Ultra. Even Peyton Manning is a big endorser. There's a Super Bowl commercial with Peyton Manning in it. They had a couple other athletes, but Peyton Manning was the main one. So you got to wonder about Peyton Manning and some of these other athletes that endorse it. What are they trying to tell you? I think it's clear what they're telling you. And the comedian actress Roseanne, she's a big whistleblower on MK Ultra. It takes a lot of courage to do it. And for a while, she was a whistleblower. She was hoping to get more support. They thought when she came out, there'd be more numbers. But no, it's tough there are consequences for doing it. And also, once she's an MK Ultra monarch herself, so if she has these alter egos installed, then there's really not much she can do. Like you can go to a therapist, and it's very difficult. You need daily therapy. You'll never be the same. It's not simply just remove an alter ego. So she had all those complications. So she deserves credit for bringing it out to the public. But eventually, they reined her in. In MK Ultra systems, very often one of the alter egos they're installed is a snitch. So you'll have an alter ego who observes what's going on. So you're trying to break out, or you're trying to or reveal things you're not supposed to, like Roseanne did. What they'll do, the programmer knows, what they'll do is they'll invoke the snitch alter ego, and the snitch alter ego will tell the programmer everything that you're doing. It's amazing stuff, but yes, that is exactly how it works. And the person who's been programmed doesn't know that they have a snitch alter ego programmed. They don't know it. It's amazing stuff. It's like evil genius, and it's the Nazis who came up with this. And that's how it works. So it's almost impossible to break out, but she did do a good service in the time she was able to say things. And one of her main quotes is that MK Ultra rules in Hollywood. She said that. She even came on Larry King Live and talked about it. As a primetime show on CNN, she actually talked about MK Ultra and how she was subjected to it. So here's another subliminal from celebrity world was Mary Kate Olsen, of the Olsen twins. I'll talk about how twin siblings is very important. Now that may not seem like that big a coincidence. Oh, well, some people have the initials MK. So, right, but Mary Kate Olsen also she competes in equestrian horse show jumping, and one of her horses is named Naomi. So she has the initials MK Mary Kate, and her horse is Naomi, MK Naomi. That's not a coincidence. You can say the MK alone might be, okay, those are initials, not when her horse is also named Naomi. You see what they're doing there. And also, they just also appeared in the X-Files, super popular series, in 2018, season 11, episode 6, which is titled Kitten, which is an MK Ultra term. In the episode Kitten, they took the viewer back to the Vietnam War, and there were some American soldiers in Vietnam who were ordered to transport and protect
we got the commercial real quick, Rambo. We'll be right back, everybody. Sit tight.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
Who would have thought this could have happened? I'll tell you, here's the story. If it's bad, it'll be front page news in the newspapers. If it's great, they won't even cover it. Now, if it's bad, I say it's fake. Saki told me so it must be true. If it's good, I say, I told you again, I told you. Trump. What the hell is he talking about? I don't know. Don't laugh. You're now canceled. We are a laughing stock all over the world. If you say election fraud, you get canceled. The proof that Joe Biden hasn't lost it was that Vladimir Putin said that he seemed very sharp. How about if I take a cognitive test? There's a woman's man, camera, TV, but for me, it was easy. Law and order. We want law and order. We demand law and order. We don't want people shot and killed. Clearly. Now, if it's bad, I say it's fake. Saki told me so it must be true. If it's good, I say, I told you again, I told you. You don't need your fully semi-automatic 49-shot clip, man. Am I right? In other words, the entire system was rigged. Yeah. Every day more people are realizing that we were right. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Crooked Hillary Clinton is the most angry person in the United States. Yeah. You know why? She said, why the hell didn't you do that for me? I could have been somebody. There's a lot of enthusiasm for Joe Biden. He's the most popular president ever. He's significantly more popular than Barack Obama was in 2008. Am I right? Clearly. Now, if it's bad, I say it's fake. Saki told me so it must be true. If it's good, I say, I told you again, I told you. You owe me. Now listen.
if you have not subscribed to a YouTube channel, do it right now. Do it today. And all you have to do is click the big red subscribe button.
Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. We got Rambo with us. We got 2 hours of show left. Unfortunately, as a heads up, somehow the TFR website's gone down, and with it down, I cannot access the call board for the moment. So if we're going to take calls, I'm going to have to switch it over to the 509 number unless the website gets rebooted and comes back up. I swear to God, TFR has a lot of problems anytime my show comes on. But Rambo, you still there with us?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
You hear me?
Yeah, I certainly can.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the floor again, friend.
Yeah, so the X-Files in Season 11, Episode 6, titled Kitten, which is an MK Ultra term, it takes the viewer back to the Vietnam War, where there are some American soldiers who are tasked to transport and protect a crate, and that crate is labeled MK Naomi. They're very aware of this. In fact, MK Ultra was used the most in the Vietnam War because the Vietnam War was essentially it's a war of psychological terror, and you need psychopaths to prosecute a war like that, and they had to create psychopaths, which that is what one of the benefits, especially for a military, of this kind of thing. And so it's no coincidence that after the Vietnam War, that's when you saw the high level of serial killers in the United States. It happened after Vietnam. That's when this MK Ultra style programming was perfected. In Vietnam, they had what's called the Phoenix program. The Phoenix program is this creation of psychopaths and this psychological terror in Vietnam was part of the Phoenix program. So here, the X-Files, they go back to Vietnam. MK Ultra was a central part of that, which, again, there was blowback in the United States. We had to deal with all these serial killers. And we're still dealing with that stuff. And they're protecting a crate, which is titled MK Naomi in this episode. And what happens is the crate accidentally leaks some greenish-yellow gas, and it turns one of the soldiers into a delusional psychopath, and he kills a whole bunch of Vietnamese civilians because the gas changed it. Now, MK Naomi actually does use biological agents. So they actually are they're going along with what the real MK Naomi entails in this episode. And they actually, in this, I got this excerpt on this episode from vulture.com. They do, I guess they do TV and movie reviews, and they explain to the viewers, because, most people are not aware of it, that what they're describing in that episode is a real thing. MK Naomi was an actual thing, and that MK Ultra was an actual thing. You have to explain that. So that's, so you see now the importance of the name Naomi to the subject of psychology and mental health. So back I said the date of Naomi Judd's death was April 30th. Well, Mental Health Awareness Month in the United States is May. So she dies as a result of, mental health issue, a major celebrity, right before the start of Mental Health Awareness Month. It's just perfectly.
And then May 1st, May 1st was the Country Music Hall of Fame, and they were talking about her, and I believe they entered her into the Hall of Fame the day after her death.
Oh, yeah. Again, so even on another level, I mean, you're going to say this is all coincidence she died when she did? I mean, look at how it lines up with everything, with the music industry, the Hall of Fame, with psychology, the psychology-related death. Right at the start of, this is how these things line up. I mean, some people say it's coincidence, but
that was the
That
was the 56th birthday of the Church of Satan, and of course, Mind Control and Church of Satan are also 56 in the Most Pure Cipher. So,
what is that? April 30th was the Church of Satan birthday.
They turned 56 that day.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the Church of Satan's birthday, but yeah. The Mind Control is, organization like the Church of Satan, Mind Control is like one of their central, you could say one of their pillars of the church. It's, and secret societies in general, Mind Control is central. So that's interesting, Church of Satan.
The other 56 and, earlier in April, it was the 56th CMT Country Music Awards. So that happened, and then it was the 56th birthday of the Church of Satan the day she died, and then she goes in the Hall of Fame for country music the very next day, the start of Mental Health Month, and it's just, it looks pretty blatant.
Yeah, and especially with her name. Her name, you see how her name is, it's most important. Now, there's this organization that, promotes mental health and promotes things like, Mental Health Awareness Month. It's a major organization, and it's called the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And it's an acronym, NAMI, N-A-M-I, NAMI. What is that? That's practically Naomi. And they have a logo, which is it's a yellow circle. It's not a yellow circle. Well, that could be like an O, which if you take their logo and their acronym, NAMI, the O and NAMI, or you have an anagram of Naomi. So you see how this name is connected and to mental health. And so that's how it lines up. Maybe it's all coincidence, I don't know. But, this is the pattern that people need to realize. Perception management is what's at the heart of this. And there's a code definitely distinct gematria code for MK Ultra and for mind control in general. We're talking about the toilet paper and mind control, how those. But 163 is a major mind control code number. I won't go over all the 163s, but I did do a video, one of my early videos. I got a good response on it. It was about the rock group Drowning Pool, which is used by the U.S. military. They provided literally like the anthem for the war in Iraq and the so-called war on terror. Drowning Pool, their song is the anthem for that. U.S. soldiers were using, I think U.S. programs were actually programmed with it. It's a song called Bodies. Well, I did one of my first videos was on the PSYOPs, Celebrity PSYOPs is called. I gave a link to that if anyone hasn't seen it. And I also did a post on Patreon. Now, even if you don't mind, I only have one tier, $5 a month, but even if you don't want to pay that, I have some public posts. So I do have a post on it, because sometimes it's easier just to scroll through a post and see the terms and the numbers than it is to watch a video. So if you want to see the post, I left a link to the post on Patreon. It's public, you don't have to pay. And where I show this code in the PSYOP, Celebrity PSYOP, and the code is 163. The term Manchurian candidate sums to 163. A Manchurian candidate is a mind controls, like an MK Ultra monarch, basically. And Manchurian candidate sums to 163. The face of MK Ultra, it came from Nazi Germany. This is the central face of it, is Joseph Mengele. And his birthday is 163. The 16th March. He's known for experimenting with twins a lot. We talk about the big twin symbolism. So he's connected to the twins thing as well, and MK Ultra. So 163 is big in mind control. Well, Project MK Naomi sums to 163. So this number comes up. Also 38, because that's a 38th prime number. 38 comes up a lot in mind control. But Project MK Ultra 163. Now, Serena Williams, if you see the interview, the video I left a link to when she admits to having alter ego, she said that in the 2009 U.S. Open, she said her alter ego named Taekwondo was playing. It wasn't her. So she said, that's not me. And people may see that and think, either she's messing around or they're messing with us or she's just being silly or they may think she's insane or something. But no, she's dead serious. From her perspective, she's serious when she says, that was not me. And she's right, it was not her. It was an alter ego, and she didn't choose that alter ego. That was programmed into her. That's what people... Of course she'll get the blame. She understands that it's unfair for her to be blamed for it, but she says, no, Taekwondo is acting up because she was physically threatening the line judge, physically threatening with violence. And, she's being booed and stuff, and she's saying, well, I'd never do that. And she probably, too, Serena Williams probably would not do that, but Taekwondo would. And, she didn't ask for Taekwondo. And that was in 2009. So she watches it and says, that's somebody else, that's not me. Well, the reigning U.S. Open champion is Emma Raducanu. She's from Britain. And it's a really improbable win. She's 18 years old. She has no experience. She's like, I think she only played in a couple major tournaments. She set the record for fewest major games played before winning a major. Out of nowhere. Even her opponent came out of nowhere. These kids, so underdeveloped, they beat all these experienced, physically developed grown women. Somehow, two of them reached the final. Emma Raducanu, and her statements afterwards are very revealing. So her coach, his comment was, Raducanu's mental strength is special. She's focused on her mental strength. She wanted to be good. And he said it was truly special is the phrase he used. Well, okay, you do a gematria. When they highlight, I learned this from you, like when they highlight a phrase, you have to do a gematria on it. They highlighted truly special when it comes to 163, which is the mind control code for a Manchurian candidate. And I look at her comments. Okay, so this is from the definition of a Manchurian candidate is the candidate acts and behaves normally before receiving the trigger with no knowledge of what he will do or what he has done while under the influence of mind control. That's how the triggers work. This is from a definition, a web definition of Manchurian candidate. They don't know what happened when the alter ego was triggered. Now, this is her description of her win at the U.S. Open, Raducanu, the reigning 2009 U.S. Open champion. She says, this is her quote, it almost feels like it's not me playing. And then she describes watching the video of her. When she got home, she watched the game on the video, and she says she felt like she was watching somebody else. When she watched the video of herself, she said, to her, it's like watching someone else. And we know what that is. And we know why her coach used that phrase, truly special. It all lines up. And again, that's something done to her. She didn't choose this, so it's not like she's this awful person. She's benefiting, but there are also some nightmares that go along with it. And,
Rambo.
Serena Williams did.
Rambo, just because it's current, last night you had the first individual no-hitter of the season in MLB baseball, clearly by the numbers. And last night when the pitcher was interviewed after the game about when he thought he might be going for the no-hitter, he said, maybe around the 6th inning, but I blacked out and don't remember anything after that. And we've heard this before from these pro athletes talking about how they blacked out and don't remember anything. We've been documenting this over the years, and that just became the latest athlete on TV to say that he blacked out and didn't remember the key thing that happened. They've said this when we've seen this with all different athletes, all different sports, them talking about these great accomplishments, and then they say, well, honestly, I can't remember, I blacked out. So it's like, what in the world? I mean, why are these people all saying they blacked out? What is going on here? And I think it factors into what you're talking about tonight. So in case you didn't know that, I just wanted to throw that in there.
These statements like this you will hear over and over again. But what Serena Williams did is she took it to another level where she actually described the name of an alter ego and actually named the alter ego. And she even says that this alter ego is a really good tennis player. So in the interview, she doesn't say that I, Serena Williams, am a good tennis player. No, she doesn't say that. She says Taekwondo is a really good tennis player. So she's not even taking credit for her accomplishment. So it's almost like there's an alter ego who's performing. And so, again, it's hard for people to grasp. But yeah, athletes constantly make those kind of comments, and we understand why. I mean, I guess we all grew up if we're sports fans, or even if you're not a sports fan, you looked at celebrity life, you kind of dreamed of having that celebrity life, but now, once you're aware, it's not something you want. It's not. And so yeah, this no-hitter, I wonder, I look at some of the details and the phrases they use, like the numbers like 163, 117, 137, those are the numbers that come up a lot in mind control. Like here, when the coach said truly special.
Well,
that was not a rant.
Major League Baseball's 117, and so I remember when George Springer won the World Series with Houston, he said, he blacked out. That was one of the times in MLB that there was another blackout comment. He said he couldn't remember anything. He was the World Series MVP, and he said he couldn't remember the series. It's all a blur. He was blacked out. It's like, what? So.
Yeah, I remember Troy Aikman used to make comments like that, but people attributed that, and he attributed that to all the concussions he had. Where he'd say he used to watch some of his games, and he was like watching somebody else. And they said, yeah, that's because he had a lot of concussions. But no, that's not. I don't think that's the reason.
I don't either.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, so I'll see if these numbers manifest in some of the quotes after that no-hitter. But yeah, blackout. So when you hear blackout, has two meanings. It's a double entendre. It can mean blackout, like we most normally think of the lights, electricity goes out. But it's also a mind control term. Where, yeah, it's in the definition of a Manchurian candidate. When the alter ego is operational, the primary personality just has no idea what's going on. And when they come back to consciousness, it's like you lost track of time. And they are aware that there's something wrong with them. They're aware of that. So yeah, if you see the videos, all Tiger Woods does talk about, he says some of the biggest shots he hits, the last thing he remembers is receiving the club from the caddy. That's the last thing he remembers. And then the next thing he remembers is walking, to the next hole and the crowd cheering. He doesn't even know why they're cheering. He said that in the interview.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And this is not just sports. This is people, like you see the behavior of Nancy Pelosi and stuff. So yeah, like you mentioned Church of Satan, Freemasons, do it, all secret societies. Actually, even Fritz Springmeier, he did the groundbreaking work on MKUltra. I mean, that's not his real name, but it's his invaluable research, and he actually names a lot of the organizations who do MKUltra. And he names the Jesuit, or he says Jesuit, Catholic Church and Jesuits. He names it in his book. They're very, very active with MKUltra.
And whose book is that again, and what's it called?
Oh, it's Fritz Springmeier. I mean, he came before there was a quote-unquote truth movement. He's actually one of the original truthers. He didn't really have like a, if you want to call it a movement, but it has some popularity now. But he's one of those who actually, I think he's one of those foundational members of the truth community, Fritz Springmeier. It's a really long title book. It has like two different titles, but one is The Illuminati Formula to Create a Total Undetectable Mind Control Slave. And it's a really long title, but you'll find it if you just type his name in, because he had another book, The 13 Bloodlines of the Illuminati. That's another popular book. And he wrote this like in the 90s, like early 90s, mid 90s, before there was a truth movement. So there are two titles. Another title is How the Illuminati Create an Undetectable Total Mind-Controlled Slave. I mean, I don't know why he did such a long title, but you can also get a lot of PDFs. It's available on PDF a lot, and on any web search, you'll get the PDF if that's all you wanted. But I did order a paperback, but it's chock full of. Again, and he has his detractors. I mean, he suffered a lot for it. He was accused of being a white supremacist based on the fact that, feds raided his home and found white supremacist paraphernalia lying around, and that's based on that. They're saying he's part. He got accused of robbing a bank. He really suffered. So you don't really see him that much. I think he really got worn down. He got worn down, and he co-authored it with Cisco Wheeler, who's also a mind control monarch, and some people think that Fritz Springmeier might have also been. But regardless, it's very valuable information, and he's never been sued. He's never been sued for any of the information in there. That's a really key point. So they'll do things like frame, because if you don't want to bring somebody down like that, well, then you'll sue them. You sue them out of existence. But they can't. So what they can do is frame somebody for bank robbery and, talk about the indiscretion he had with his wife. That's personal, but the information itself is it's invaluable. And it adds up. I mean, you can crack open any page and find some very valuable information, and then you can then go to the outside world, look at the images he describes, and then you'll see it. And there's so many people who have read his work, who many psychologists now, it's starting to become more kind of mainstream. So many people are picking up the ball. So a lot of these images, like the one eye, broken glass, shattered glass, and spider webs, rainbows, butterflies, those are all, and they're everywhere. It's everywhere. And he was the first one to really break that open to a broad audience. And then you see it adds up. Regardless of what you think of him, you can't deny it's there. And athletes like Serena Williams and Tiger Woods admitting this is everything that he had said back in the early 90s. So yeah, that's a good, I think, essential book for a genuine truth seeker. This is an important subject.
Indeed. Well, I appreciate it as always, Rambo. Brilliant work. And I always look forward to the next one. And again, everybody out there, make sure you're following this man's channel, The Truth Codes. He's doing great work. So, the number is climbing.
I appreciate it.
All right, Rambo. You have a good night.
All right. Have a good rest of the show.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Bye.
All right, next up, always right first in line. How you doing, George?
Great, and yourself, Zach. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
I'm sorry that's redundant. Sorry, I was multitasking. Couple of things. Well, thank you for taking my call, and I'm surprised that it'll get through because I dialed in on the 213 number, and you said you're having some problems with your computer.
Well, the network was having some problems. I couldn't connect to it until it got rebooted.
Okay, so I'll be as quick as possible. I realize, you're always under the gun. So I just wanted to mention a few things, if I could. Have you ever done a video on the Ramones?
The Ramones, the band?
Yes.
I don't think I have.
Okay, well, I was never a big fan of theirs. I know a couple of their songs, like Rock and Roll High School. As a matter of fact, there's a Roger Corman film came out in 1979 featuring the Ramones. It was like one of these cheesy teenage movies from, over 40 years ago. But there's a number of odd things about the Ramones. They were considered to be the progenitors of punk rock. They were formed in 1974, something like a year or so ahead of the Sex Pistols in the UK. And between 1975 and 1980, you had two major musical genres that were popular in the U.S. and UK and other countries. The aforementioned punk rock, and you had disco. And disco is a completely different conversation, and I'd like to talk about that one of these days, but not tonight. So one of the odd things about the Ramones is they had 4 members originally, and all of them are dead. They all died relatively young. Now, despite their names, they were not brothers. That was just simply their stage name. The lead singer was a fellow by the name of Jeffrey Ross Hyman. He lived from the 19th of May, 1951, died on April the 15th, 2001.
So just right away, dying on 15/4, ritual sacrifice equals 154. That's another familiar pattern with death. It's not as common as 38 and 83, but yeah, 15/4, there's a ritual sacrifice date. So, and I see he died 34 days before his birthday as well, and that's murders 34, suicides also 34. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that wasn't an organic death.
Okay, he's Jewish.
Hey, you know what? In light of him dying 34 days before his birthday and being Jewish, let me just make a point about that, because one of the headlines in the news today, the day of our show, is that a German airline did not allow Jews on a plane. And this news did break today, but apparently this happened on March 4th, a German airline not allowing Jews on a plane. Well, just notice how Jewish is 34 like Germany, and now we're talking about a Jewish rock star dead 34 days before his birthday. Oh, okay, George, I see your dogs are chiming in. What else is going on?
Okay, sorry about that. Daisy, bad girl. I'm on the phone with Zach Hubbard. I'm sorry, she doesn't. I guess she's not a big fan of Gematria.
Sure.
So anyhow, the other, as I said, there are 4 original members. So Hyman was the lead singer. You had Joey, Johnny, Tommy, and Dee Dee. Johnny, whose birth name was John William Cummings, he lived from the 8th of October, 1948, died on September the 15th, 2004. So he was 55 when he died. So that looks suspicious.
Yeah, I'll look at this. Is interesting that all members are dead. One death in 2001, the next death June 5th, 2002. June 5th is always a curious date. I've never looked into the deaths of the members of this band, but you're right. All 4 members to be dead. That's I mean that's pretty suspicious. So I'll definitely do more research on this. Next death, 2004.
Okay, and of course, the other 2 members, Tommy, was like a Tamash Zahar. He's Hungarian. He lived from.
Hold on, George. We're going to commercial. It's commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody.
Here's number 2 in the art of persuasion. Accurate facts. Accurate facts. We call it dealing in truth. Accuracy is very important. Here's why. It builds credibility. Credibility starts to weaken if you mess with the facts, the truth, the correct numbers. Now, everybody will give you room for what we call an unintentional error in dealing in facts. Now, see, if my watch says about 7:28, but if you were to ask me what time is it, and I was to say it's 7:30, you would allow me to be a couple of minutes off, right? If I said it was 7:30, but accurately, really, truthfully, it was 7:28, you would give me that error to just quickly say 7:30, right? You would say, you didn't mean to mess up my life, right? By leading me astray with this erroneous information that it was 7:30 when really it was only 7:28. Now, there are times and occasions when you may have to be precise, and it may be a life and death matter, who knows?
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
We exist in the security and comfort of our worlds. Paved paths, lights, and manicured lawns give us peace of mind that our world has been tamed, and we are its master. But other worlds exist on the edge of our sight. On the edge of our awareness, the shadows move. The woods fill with the unblinking eyes of the nightmares our ancestors warned us about. Some of us have stumbled into these forgotten realms, whether on purpose or completely by surprise. I'm Brent Thomas. Join us on the Paranormal Portal Friday and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. to midnight Pacific Standard Time as we journey into the world of the paranormal phenomena.
Enter the Paranormal Portal if you dare.
You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
All right, we're back. We're with George, and just real quick over the break, just trying to look at these 4 deaths real quick. Again, I just want to tell you what I came up with in just a couple of minutes. So I was pointing out that Joey Ramone died 15/4, and ritual sacrifice equals 154. That's with the alphabetic order. If you run the alphabetic order in reverse with the rules of numerology, ritual sacrifice also equals 107. And one of the members, Johnny Ramone, or John William Cummings, he died September 15th, the day leaving 107 days left in the year. A very familiar pattern with the drummer. Usually the drummer's the first to die in a band, and in the case of the Ramones, the drummer was the last to die. As we know, drummer equals 38 like death, and the drummer died 163 days after his birthday, the 38th prime number. And the other death in the band was... what's the one I'm missing? Dee Dee Ramone died June 5th, 2002. Now, we know that date's big with the Jesuits. That's the day RFK, for example, was shot in history. I got to do more thinking on his death. That's the one where... And again, I haven't had the time to really research the band and their discography, but there's 3 familiar patterns just in celebrity deaths period with the ritual sacrifice code and the 38 code. But yeah, I'm sure there's an explanation for the other member who died on June 5th. It's going to take a little bit more research than the 2 minutes I had there on the commercial break. But again, that's the power of this knowledge, you guys. In 2 minutes, I was able to see through 3 out of the 4 deaths. And again, I just recognize those numbers because I talk about them so much in celebrity death. I mean, they come up all the time. I was just watching a movie the other night where the main character, he's made to kill men and he's never killed before. And they had to show the number 107 all in the background of the killing scene. And again, ritual sacrifice is 107. And... But here, let's go back out to George to hear the rest of his thoughts. Okay, George.
Okay, so hello, Zach.
Yes.
You were able to address my concerns regarding the Ramones. Now, just want to mention a couple of things that have gone on this week. On Monday, I know you talked about this last week. On Monday, May 9th, I guess was Victory Day for Russia. It marked the 77th anniversary of when the Russians defeated the Nazis in World War II. Well, on that very day, Joe Biden decided to issue a new Lend-Lease. Now, if you look at the word Lend-Lease, that was originally, I guess, authorized or approved by Congress back on March 11th, 1941, so 81 years ago. But if you look at the word Lend-Lease, it's 77. So I realize, maybe that's a coincidence. Now, because if you think about it, Franklin Delano Roosevelt decided to give this money to Russia, the UK, and other countries 80 plus years ago to help fight the Nazis. So what was Vladimir Putin's official pretext for going to Ukraine? Well, to fight the Nazis. to fight against the Azov Battalion. Whether that's true, who knows? However, for what it's worth, last weekend, on Sunday, May the 8th, Joe Biden, the First Lady's, or Joe Biden's wife, the First Lady of America, went to Ukraine, allegedly, and to hang out with the First Lady of the Ukraine, whatever her name, Mrs. Zelensky. Also, Bono, Paul Houston, performed at the Metro, I guess, in Kiev, or Kyiv. Now, Bono just celebrated his 60th birthday, or rather 62nd birthday, I believe, yesterday. So I brought this up to you before. The official narrative we're told in the West, according to our media, is that Volodymyr Zelensky is fighting not only for the survival of his country, but his own physical survival. And I know I've said this before. However, over the last month or so, he's been able to receive several foreign dignitaries: Joe Biden, Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK. Justin is the Prime Minister of Canada. I made a mistake. And last weekend, Nancy Pelosi was there. So I have a hypothesis. Vladimir Putin is treating this conflict like a job. It's like 9 to 5. At 5 p.m. on Friday, they take the weekends off. That's how all these famous people can go over to Ukraine. Does that sound plausible?
Definitely.
So, anyhow, here's one other thing. You mentioned when you first started streaming, you're talking about Amy Coney Barrett, how she's the linchpin in the whole Roe versus Wade decision. Now, it's interesting, there's a British actor and director named Sacha Cohen Baron. Now, I realize that's completely off topic, but gee, have you noticed how similar their names sound?
Sure, that is interesting.
So when I first heard her name, I guess, when it was August, September 2000, the first thing came to mind is Borat.
Okay.
Well, I know he's done other things, but he's probably best known for that. So
Sure.
Do you think that's more of a case of the Jesuits playing a joke with us?
It's possible. He got famous doing the Ali G show where he has his characters, Ali G, Borat, and I forget what the gay character's called, but Bruno. What I wanted to say about the Lend-Lease Act, though, is that, again, he signed it on 3/11, and the number 201 is 3/11 in base 8 counting. And remember, Event 201 is the coronavirus pandemic simulation, and they declare the pandemic on 3/11, that same date in history. And again, this whole thing going on in Russia, Ukraine is just one 201 ritual after the next. And yeah, we're providing all this money and resources and military equipment, and so are other Western nations. I mean, even though the whole thing's just staged in theater of war, I mean, if you looked at it and believed the story, I mean, if you believe what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, it looks like the U.S. is fighting a war against Russia and using Ukraine to do it. But, yeah, what do you know with the dates?
I've heard that. Okay, if you look at the original Lend-Lease back in 1941, the United States gave $11.3 billion to Russia, which is a huge chunk of change for back then. That would be $700 million today. So do you catch that $11.3 million?
That's and they still do things the same way today. Just the perfect number rituals. On 2/22, when the Russia-Ukraine thing popped off like we predicted it would, Biden addressed the nation at 2:22 p.m. local time. And again, I mean, from the beginning of the country up to the present, if you pay attention, it's all number rituals. It's the same dates coming up again and again. That's why it should be undeniable to everyone what's going on. So,
okay, one other thing, if I may, Zach. On Monday the 9th, Vladimir Putin gave an 11-minute speech to commemorate Russia's victory over Germany. So he gave an 11-minute speech, the master number. Not a 10-minute speech, not a 12-minute speech, but an 11-minute speech.
Yeah, 11 minutes on the 9th. Must be another coincidence.
I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't catch that. So, do they? So this is something people don't realize. Almost all these leaders, Zelensky, Putin, Boris Johnson, Biden, they're all working together.
Yeah, how about that? How about that evildoer in Syria with the September 11th birthday? I mean, yeah, they're all puppets. People forget that the Arab League was created on March 22nd, 1945. 322, it's not hard to see who's running the Middle East. It's the same gang. So.
Okay, well, I guess you have other calls to get to, and, I guess I'll join you next week.
All right, George. Appreciate it. You take care.
You do.
All right, we're going to go out to New York City, 718.
Hey, Zach?
Hello.
You hearing me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Just got a couple of things I was going to show you tonight. One of them is a 201 ritual. If you go to Google and you look for the phrase, I want to make sure you get the right link. New York Post subway bombing. New York Post subway bombing.
Okay.
The second link down is pretty much the link that pretty much everyone is in New York looked at, and it has the most captivating image of what occurred that day. So you would notice 2 images down, you would see, so not the video, you'd see in the image down, let me go to it now, you'd see 36th Street, you'll see people sitting on the floor. You'd also notice a backpack. Oh, are you there yet? Because I can't see exactly where you are.
I'm assuming I have the same post, but I'm looking for the picture of people sitting down.
Yep, and there's a backpack to the left. So it's the second image you're going to see, multimedia, on that page. It's not the video, it's the second thing you'll see.
Now, you said bombing. Did
you... Chinatown.
When you told me what to search, did you mean to say shooting instead of bombing?
No, I meant bombing.
Bombing. Okay. All right, New York Post subway bombing, nypost.com. The second thing down, because this is what people don't understand. What the second thing down is on your Google search might not be the second thing down on another person's Google search, because there's all sorts of different, things. But do you remember what the headline was in the article?
I'll just give you a summary. The headline from the article is...
Here, I did find it. It's the first one on my search. It's the
29 inches.
I found it. It's the first one on my search. Okay, so...
Sorry. So you notice in that article about the second image down, you'll see a backpack, you'll see people sitting on the floor.
The North Face is right there. The North Face.
The North Face is a 201 in Jewish gematria.
It is, and it's funny because I was just, for Oklahoma, it's funny, I was driving down to Oklahoma City when this was the breaking news, and we were talking about it in the car, but when I got to Oklahoma City, I noticed that one of the news teams, the entire team that was around, like the production crew, they were all in gear that said the North Face, and I know that the North Face equals 201, and I know there's a million 201s on that ritual, but in my mind, I was thinking, okay, that's got to be a coincidence. They must just be sponsored by the North Face. But then I watched Chris Emery's documentary, and in the documentary, it talks about how the North Face of the building was blown off. And I was like, so maybe that's why the whole crew was there talking about April 19th in North Face gear, because the North Face does equal 201. So.
Not only that, Zach, I'll give you one guess. So what year?
I already know because I looked it up. 1968. 1968. The same year all the things went in. Hey, by the way, shout out to Neo the Hacker. Neo the Hacker found a new 68. In the 9/11 Commission report, it's detailed that the 19 hijackers made it through U.S. border, whatever the border thing is at the airport, 68 times. And it's just like, come on, man. 60. Just like how in 1968, the year the Quran Code was discovered, where the entire Quran centered on the number 19. But again, it's all manufactured news by the numbers. And Yeah, the skeptic will say, well, the North Face is a popular brand, but again, we know they like to get their numbers and their visuals and all their rituals, so I'm thinking that's probably not a coincidence.
Yep. The other thing tonight, Jack, is everybody was aware of Will Smith's slap at the Oscars. That was on March 27th, and everyone was probably aware of the other comedian attacked on stage, Dave Chappelle. That was on May 4th. Between those two dates,
his was May 3rd.
38 days.
The Chappelle one was
Sorry?
the Chappelle thing was May 3rd, but it was big news on May 4th.
Well, what I read, what they said is that he was on stage very early in the morning on May 4th when it occurred. So in their time zone, he was on the stage at May 4th. But we could go back to that. Okay. Either way, that span is 38 days. And this goes in very closely to what Rambo was just talking about, because the 38 prime is 163, and he was doing a lot of work at looking at Will Smith as MK Ultra subject. But the last thing I'll say on this is that what both of these comedians were attacked for were inappropriate jokes, both of them. And if you go look at the gematria of inappropriate joke, in Jewish gematria, you'll find the 122. And you've been doing a lot of work with that number and the gender that's trans. Either way, the joke that Chappelle made related to transgender, and the joke that Chris Rock made, which is about G.I. Jane, if you go look at the movie G.I. Jane, it is about the fictional story of the first woman to undergo special ops training for the Navy SEALs. And in the plot, it starts with a senator, a fictional name from Texas, criticizes the Navy for not being gender neutral. So there's the team, they're the themes.
Very interesting. Yeah, good research. I appreciate it.
Yep, and I'll drop one more for you. One more since I'm leaving, and you're looking at May 20th. It's also the birthday of Busta Rhymes, 151 Busta Rhymes, like Revelation 51, the wrath of God. So it's an interesting day to look out for.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
May 20th.
All right, you have a good night,
luck.
friend.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Okie dokie. Let's go out to 703. 703, you're on, Virginia. .703. All right. They must just be listening. Let's go out to 315. 315, you're on.
Hey, Zach, how's it going?
It's going well, thank you.
Not doing too bad. I've called in before. It's been a while. Actually just donated you the $5 talking about the neuroscience from Georgetown.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Not exactly what I called in for, but I've been doing a lot of thinking lately and trying to get out the word and how do we do that, and been kind of pushing the idea of, unity consciousness and unconditional love is the driving force behind, the physical experience that we're having. So been trying to formulate and project that idea onto everybody else with the golden rule, and taking the golden rule maybe even a step further with the idea of, if we can even use the example of me and you, where if I was born on your time and had your birthday and lived the experiences that you had, then I would be you. And I'd be on the other end of the phone listening to myself exclaim, this golden rule. So that is something I've been trying to live my life with, and I'm actually a Lyft driver, so I'm constantly meeting new people and expressing these ideas. But I had the idea today of trying to pound pavement and get out there and really start making signs about trying to push these ideas and showing people, the matrix that we're living in. And not to just keep going on a rant, but even Rambo tonight, I think, was like hitting the nail on the head with the MK Ultra. And I think it goes even deeper than, just these celebrities, like I was saying in some comments earlier. Like the TV programming, I think, is definitely, suppressing the consciousnesses of the masses into believing the new thing, or like, what the mainstream is pushing. And I think there's a lot of power in the conversation of consciousness, and the conversation that everybody's having, in their head at all times is sometimes not always necessarily, what they think it is. And I think that neuroscientist from Georgetown even shows you how these government agencies have taken the taxpayer dollars and really funded some serious science into understanding the neuroscience of the brain, and the things that he talks about that they can do so nonchalantly, like, years and years ago is insane. So.
All right, I'm going to have to look more into this. James Giordano at Georgetown. That's who you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yes. Very interesting. I'm gonna try to make some videos on him too, even explain some of the things that he says, and it's just crazy. These old Jesuit Georgetown boys are always going there, and he did some time. Forget the Jesuit university in New York.
Fordham,
yeah. So I think he's got some down there in his Wikipedia too, where he's done some education there too. So it's just madness, but we just gotta, expose the tyranny and the masses to, the suppression we're under, I think, on an everyday basis.
Indeed. Well, I appreciate the additional research and the donation. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, and I'll try to call in with some more interesting formulated concepts.
All right, I look forward to it. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to start really going through the professors over there. I'm sure there's a lot of gems. Let's go out to 510. 510, you're on.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, hey, how's it going, Zach?
Hey, what's up?
I was just calling because I was visited this Masonic Homes today. They have this extremely large campus in Hayward that houses all Freemasons. So you have to be a Freemason to live there, but it's massive, and it's like a security guard at the front, and on the inside they have all these Masonic things, the big G, the big stained glass, and everything. Everybody in there are Freemasons, and there was an old guy there. He said that he had been a Mason for over 60 years, and he was living there, and most of the Masons that lived there actually work in the building. So he was actually a pretty cool dude, but I didn't know. But the way they live is amazing. I mean, it's really nice. It's laid out, this place. But they got a lot of places like that out here in the Bay Area, where it's a lot of Freemason homes and stuff like that, and it's kind of like way out in the open. So I mean, like, you can see it and know what it is. Not really too much secret. And most of the people seem pretty cool. I don't know if they haven't seen, but I took a bunch of pictures of some really strange stuff. So.
Interesting.
But I just wanted to share today. Yeah, they got some pretty interesting places out here for Masons.
Indeed. Yeah, Masons all over the place. Well,
all over the place, yeah.
Thanks for calling in and sharing that. Appreciate it.
All right, no problem.
All right. Yeah, you have a good night. All right, Rock Hill, South Carolina, you're on. 803.
Hello?
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 Yeah, you're on.
There.
That's me.
Yeah, I was calling about, hold on, let's see. I think one of your live streams you were saying there was no black or African pope. I did find there was 3 African popes, so I don't know if you can look into that. There were 3 African popes.
For the Catholic Church?
Yep. I think it was, one of them was Saint Victor. I don't know, it was like in AD or something. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was he, black?
Yeah, I think they were black. The 3 African. There's some portraits and stuff.
Pope Victor the First, the stained glass.
They could have been. It could have been.
The stained glass mural they got up of him. The stained glass mural they got up of Pope Victor the First is white. So I mean, history can't change, but he's depicted today as being a white guy.
I mean, it could have been. I don't know if they would have whitewashed it, but who knows about history? They changed a lot of stuff, so yeah.
The next one, who's also from Africa, is also depicted as being white. Pope Miltiades, or however you say it, he's depicted as being white. And Pope Gelasius is the other one. Pope Gelasius the First. Let's see. He is also depicted as being white. So they might have been in African territories. Again, you know, I mean, Rome's been conquering a lot of that region for a long time, but all 3 of these men are now depicted as being white. So again, the point is there's no black popes in the history of the church. So there might be some that have an African attached to where they're from, but it looks like they're all now at least depicted as being white. So I think it's a fact that there's never been a black pope in the history of the church.
Okay. Well, there are some people in the Holy Roman Empire that were black, though. So
you're trying to argue that they're not racist and they're not the ones coding 42 and 59 over black men as they kill them in Jesuit rituals week after week, or what point are you trying to make?
No. I'm not saying. I'm saying some people.
All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Sit tight.
This is iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio makes you want to move. When you have a great melody, a song lasts forever.
Instantly connected.
I love it when the beat goes.
Did you know you can listen to Truth Frequency Radio on iHeartRadio? Just download the app to your smart car, smartphone, or smart TV and get the best of TFR wherever you are.
iHeartRadio.
I'll see you there.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
It is what it is.
Really, you're stupid. And I sure wish you'd wake up. Because the globalists have a plan. They just make jokes and go, oh, Joe Rogan took horse paste. Want to see my ivermectin? This is ivermectin for humans. Yeehaw! See this stuff? I see Bill Gates. I'm going to kill those pariahs, you bastard murderers. You think I'm easy to kill? Get hit by a bioweapon, you monster. No, prize money for humans. You want to suppress me? You want to kill me, you son of a bitch? You goddamn demon. You get the shot. They don't oppose the beast. They don't oppose the monster. They get on their knees to it and then say, I'll help you get those others to eat me last. Go, prize money for humans. I got COVID. Go, prize. And they just go, really, Alex? Go, prize money for humans. It is what it is. Go, prize. Really, you're stupid. I strongly suggest that the rest of the day, you better stay pretty close by the bathroom. You're gonna get a supernatural flushing. It was a massive dump. Wow. And they sit around and laugh at us? Medical doctors gave that to me. It is incredible. It helped my family. It helped me. It helped everybody. That murderer Fauci doesn't want you to know. Because he wants the planet for himself. And he wants you dead. Well, guess what, Fauci? We ain't rolling over and dying so easily. You little murdering maggot. Go, prize money for humans. I got COVID. Go, prize. And they just go, really, Alex? Go, prize money for humans. It is what it is. This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
You have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We're taking your calls. We got an hour of show left, and our friend from Rock Hill, South Carolina, got cut off by the commercial break, so we're bringing him back so we can finish his thought.
Hello?
Yeah, you're back.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was saying Rome probably had. I'm saying they probably mostly made for European ancestry, but I'm saying originally they had people called the Etruscans. The Etruscans, they were darker skinned, but they got conquered. But I'm saying they might have some, I guess, the token black, or it might have some darker skinned people they had in charge, so they could use.
Sure, it's just like the other year. The other year, I still remember the other year. It was a Sunday, and Tom Brady got bumped from Sunday Night Football. He was supposed to be on, but instead they moved the Cardinals-Seahawks game into the Sunday Night Football position that day, and it just happened to be on the same day that Pope Francis appointed the first black cardinal, and he was from Chicago, like how the Cardinals are originally from Chicago, and sure enough, the Cardinals upset the Seahawks that night. And there was a lot more to it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure, though, that there hasn't been any black popes in the history of the church. So, anyway, okay. I will look more into those three African popes, though.
Okay. Yeah, but Septimius Severus, he was darker skinned, though. I think he's a Roman emperor.
Sure. All right. Well, I appreciate the observation. Thank you.
Okay, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Yeah, do you still use the channels Voice of Humanity and Zachary on the Corner?
I just uploaded a couple of videos. Both of those videos ended up getting 2 strikes on them as well, so I let them relax for a while. But I will bring back the Voices of Humanity channel, and also I did post some things to Zachary on the Corner today. I'll start using a lot more. So yeah, they were both in timeout for a while as well.
And for the Sunday show, you plan to keep it on YouTube, or are you taking it to Patreon? Because
I will take it. I will take it to Patreon eventually. I was going to wait till Jeff Young did his guitar lesson so the public could have that, and then so we'll see this Sunday perhaps. But yeah, I will take it to a Patreon only eventually.
Okay, because I don't know if there were some viewers that were watching them, but that's all up to you. But on the last thing, you got your Gematrinator? Type in immortality.
Okay.
You type it in?
Yeah.
And I typed in coronavirus.
It's the same in all four. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I look up the article, what's it called? What Hope? Dreams of Immortality in the Time of a Pandemic.
What's it called again?
It's What Hope? A question mark, then Dreams of Immortality in the Time of a Pandemic.
That's a long title. Okay. All right. ABC, Australia. Okay.
Yeah, it's an article that talks about humanity has been striving for immortality, and talks a little bit about COVID, and then it talks about the transhumanist agenda. And I don't know if it relates to what I typed in, immortality and coronavirus. So that was interesting. I don't know if it's leading to a transhumanist agenda, so that could be, has to do with immortality with the coronavirus. So.
All right. I'll look more into that. Also interesting. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. You have a good night. Thank you.
You too.
Okay. Let's go out to Missouri, 314.
I was listening to the Sunday show, and D26 had mentioned April 5th, and then he was mentioning something about the 95 thesis. And I just wanted to add on to that. So the 95 thesis, which was sent out on October 31st, that's the same day that Satoshi Nakamoto had published the Bitcoin white paper, which the Bitcoin white paper in reverse full reduction equals 95.
Just like Halloween. Halloween also equals 95 since it's Halloween.
Yeah, so and then Satoshi Nakamoto, the author of the white paper, he was born on April 5th. So this ties into, I don't know where D26 was going with all that. I'd have to go back and watch that. But April 5th also, back in, I forget what year it was, but that's the same day that President Roosevelt had signed Executive Order 6102, which required U.S. citizens basically to turn in their gold, which a lot of people within the Bitcoin community are worried that's going to happen with Bitcoin. But anyway, 6102 in reverse equals 2016. 2016 is a significant number within Bitcoin because every 2016 blocks that are mined on the Bitcoin blockchain, a difficulty adjustment occurs within the mining difficulty. And then 2016, when you write it out in words, that also equals 95 in reverse full reduction. So I don't know what's going on with the number 95, especially within Bitcoin. I have to dig into that more, but maybe D26 might want to take a look at that as well. So, but just wanted to call in because I was watching that earlier, and when he brought that up, I already had been looking into this conveniently enough. So that's all I got.
One of the powerful relationships with 95, again, for people who don't know, the Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses written by Martin Luther and pinned on Halloween, as we now call that date, where Halloween's also 95. And their purpose was the Counter-Reformation, which equals 95. And they're recognized by Rome on the day leaving 95 days left in the year. And a Jesuit established the Bavarian Illuminati, which equals 95. And if you write out 666, it equals 95. And of course, 95 weeks in a day is 666 days. We just saw Tom Izzo, the Michigan State coach who began coaching that team in 95, who's still the coach as of right now, who's on 666 wins. We just saw one of his former players just died suspiciously on the date that can be written 9/5. That's what day he was in the news. Also, that player's full name equals 95. And 666 is associated with money in the Bible. It's also associated with the mark. And as we know, computer is 666 in Sumerian, and Bitcoin's tracked through computers. So, and again, like I've always been saying, Bitcoin's obviously a Jesuit operation. That's why it always has the same type of rituals, the same type of Jesuit numbers. So, my thought is it's somewhere in there, because you said that number is what, 2016, a lot like 216, which is the product of 6 times 6 times 6. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, 2016. Yep, that's interesting. I don't know how they came up with these numbers within Bitcoin. So, like 21 million coins. Well, it's a supply cap, and then 2016 blocks. That's when the difficulty. And there's all these numbers. It's just kind of like where'd they come up with these numbers? So,
indeed.
Anyway. Yeah, that's interesting, the 666. I didn't know that. I'm going to dig into this further, and hopefully D26 can come up with some more stuff if he hears this. So, all right, thanks, Zach.
All right, yeah. Have a good night. You're welcome. Let's go out to Utah. Utah, you're wrong.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Sorry, I had you on my stereo set up, so... I had a comment on what Rambo was talking about, and then I had a question for you.
Okay.
When Rambo was talking about the MK, I was thinking of Mortal Kombat. So I typed in the Gematria calculator, and I just hit all ciphers, and it gives you 561 in Satanic. And I was looking at that number, and it's the 33rd triangular number, and there's something else I'm missing off the top of my head, because I've been waiting for like an hour and a half to say this. But let me go to my calculator. I can do this while I'm on the phone, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, I'm hitting the wrong button, sorry. You can hear me okay, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So if you take 561 divided by pi, it gives you a number 178.57. And if you divide that by pi, it gives you 56.84. But then if you just take the number 178 and divide that by pi, it gives you 56.65. I thought that's interesting. Something about the 33rd triangular number and 561. But my question for you was, a couple years ago, a person I knew here in southern Utah that moved here from California went back down there and left his family. And he told them he's gonna make it on his own or die or something. He was on the news. He killed somebody in a street altercation with a gun, and then he went into a Jack in the Box and shot a regular clothed off-duty officer. He shot him in the back of the head. Did you hear about that? I can tell you his name. I know his full name and his birthday because I used to know the guy. It's weird that this happened.
Okay, what's his name and birthday?
Would you mind? Okay, his name's Rhett, Rhett, and his middle name is Mackenzie, Mackenzie, and his last name is Nelson.
Okay, it came up, but it typed it in for me, so that must be a recent story. Well, May 20th, 2021, okay. St. George, Utah.
And his birthday is May 23rd of 89.
Okay.
I was wondering if you wouldn't mind, because I'm not watching your video, I'm just talking on the phone. I could, try to watch it, but it'd be delayed. But could you look up that date real quick and see if there's anything to that birthday, to the date of the shooting? I know you're good at this kind of stuff. I just want to know if it's a hoax or if this kid I used to hang out with freaking shot somebody in the back of the head and shot somebody in another car. I don't know if it's a hoax. I was hoping you could kind of look at it real quick, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm just looking at it real quick. His first recorded appearance was June 13th, 2019, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. What day did the actual shooting happen?
I'm not totally sure. I think it was between 2 and 3 years ago because I had this shitty job and I was just trying to just think it through every day. And that was 3 years of hell. So I just remember hearing about it during that time, and I haven't. That was a year and a half ago, and I quit that job. So it was probably 2 or 3 years ago, in between there somewhere.
It looks like the first reporting.
There hasn't been a lot of.
The first reporting of it was June 11th, 2019, but I'm still trying to find where he was arrested June 11th, 2019, but I'm not sure what day the shooting was still. Oh, okay, there it is. It happened on June 10th. Huh.
Okay, because I used to go to the Mormon church up until I turned 18 because my dad didn't really give me a choice. He told me, like, you can go or you cannot go, but the whole week that you don't go, you can't watch TV or use a computer. You can just read a book or something or go walk down the street. So I would go, and that's when I met this kid. They moved up here from California, and I'm 2 years older than him. And he has a fraternal twin brother, if that has anything to do with it. But his dad wrote the book called The Emotion Code, where you do this thing where, like, you have someone hold their arm out and you push down on it while you're asking questions, and it has something to do with, like, finding trapped emotions and shit. I don't know, but
well, I've
never been able to figure out.
I'll look into it more. I mean, the one thing that is interesting is just that the first court date ended up being the day leaving 201 days left in the year. But yeah, I'll have to do some research on it because I've never looked at this before. So.
Because I'm thinking, like, because his dad's got a lot of money somehow. They live in this really nice gated community. Maybe, like, they're with the Jesuits and they're like, yeah, let's just have your son, like, be the hoax shooter for this cop that got shot in the back of the head, and we'll just have him start a new life, and it'll just help us, implement this propaganda, and then the whole agenda of taking away our guns. Because I knew this kid for a long time, and I can't imagine him going and shooting someone in the back of the head for no reason. So anyway, I'll get off the phone, but thanks for listening, man.
It happened on the 19th day of his age. We know that's the number that so much chaos is around. But yeah, I'd have to look into it a lot more. So
yeah, like I said, I've tried using, like, your methods from your first book. I've read most of that up until the part about all the murders, and it was kind of depressing. I couldn't really get through that. But by the way, I paid $5 for that ebook version. I didn't want to be a prick and just get it for free, but I tried to use your methods of looking at everything with the days after the birthday and all that shit. I just couldn't figure out if it was real or not, you know what I mean? So, but thanks for listening, man.
Sure. All right, appreciate the call, and I will look more into it. Thank you.
All right, yep. I'll be listening. Bye.
I mean, it's possible it's real. I mean, I don't know. He's just saying he knew the kid, and it just seems so weird that he would do that. So that's why he's trying to figure it out. Did happen on the 19th day of his age, the old chaos number. So let's go out to 302. What's up, man? .302.
Hello?
You're on.
Can you hear me that?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Well, I won't be too long, but one of my friends came across this video of this guy, and he was in the video talking about how he thinks that with the COVID vaccines that there could possibly that they could possibly be using snake venom or something.
Yeah, that was the viral thing from, like, the middle of April. Watch the water, which equals 56, just like coronavirus and COVID vaccine, and it really didn't make any sense. And again, it went viral, and it's funny. We were even down in Oklahoma City, and we were talking to a cop, and he even brought it up. He's like, "Man, I just saw that." We were talking to this cop that was opening up about things he'd even watch the water. But it total psyop.
Oh yeah. Never mind. He was telling me about it, and then I saw it, and I'm like, oh yeah, hell no, this is a bunch of bullshit. Like this, yeah, like this is something that just needs to be left alone. Like no one needs to watch it. Like it's just going to start a bunch of hoo-ha bullshit like Pizzagate or some bullshit, and then get people riled up on the wrong side, and then make people like you or I look stupid for trying to expose some shit. And yeah,
that's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, but I watched your video about the 10,000 supporters, and I really like what you were saying. But the one part you were talking about, I kind of feel you. Like certainly, if I were to do something like that, I would kind of like have to watch myself a little bit, because I don't know, like if somebody tried to grab me or a cop or something and like try to grab me, like I don't know, like retaliating and like having like a record like with like drug paraphernalia from bowls and whatnot. I don't know, but I would like to lead. I would definitely like to lead a group of people where I'm at in Raleigh, because there's 2 news stations. There's an ABC 11, and then there's like a local news station. So if I could just find some people who'd be down to do it, like I just having a tough time like find some people who like will be down, like maybe 25, 30 people who would will be willing to get some poster boards, write some stuff on it, and like surround the news station. You know what I'm saying? Like how you were explaining in the video, like because the time is now. Like the more and more we just sit around and just bicker around and like let the stuff go on, like it's just gonna get even worse. As you were stating.
Indeed, it will if people don't stand up. So, yeah, I hope the goal happens. I'm not optimistic in the first 24 hours since there was a very small response. But I don't know what it's going to take for people to invest and put in the time and help out more. It seems like we have a society of spectators and takers, and not a lot of people that are willing to do anything besides spectate. So somehow, some way, we got to change that. Otherwise, we're definitely all going down. But yeah, it's tough.
True.
Man.
But
So.
I think, as you were saying, like some people probably need the courage, like because like you said, like some people are like, oh well, I'm already defeated and da 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 da. But I think like some people need a spark, like I think maybe some people need to see more people do it, and then they'll like, maybe they'll get that urge or that spark to say, oh well, if that person can do it and get ridiculed and still do it, like how you gotten like rocks thrown at you and you say, well, I don't give a shit and still do it. Like maybe people will, be encouraged more. I don't know. I'm just trying to just like think of some ways of like people like me, like me somewhat like finding more courage to, because like if I were to like go out and do this and like get arrested, like then like how would I get bailed out or something like that? I don't know. It's just way of thinking, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it looks like I'm just going to have to do it even if the support doesn't come, because it needs to happen anyway. But it's just disappointing there's not more people out there who can't find 3 pennies a day. So.
Yeah, that's true. Because I definitely support. $5 isn't ain't shit to support for for sports picks or whatever.
Well, now we're talking 15 cents a day, but $1's 3 cents a day. So. But yeah, either way, it's doable. Right. And again, I mean, it just speaks. People think we've already lost and there's nothing that can be done, and they don't even want to try to risk $1 to see if they can be part of something. I mean, that's just where humanity is, and that's why the cabal wins, and that's why there's zero resistance pretty much in the world against what they're doing, and everyone's just marching along. And turns out even the people that think they're awake and in the truth community, at the end of the day, they don't want to do much either to help out with anything. So it's tough.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be a change. Hopefully there'll be a change or a spark or uprising or at some point sooner than later, rather than later.
Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, we're late in the game. We've been trying to create the spark for a long time. We're late in the game, but I guess we can still do it. So.
True, but I'll get off the phone now and let somebody else speak.
All right, man. Appreciate the call. Glad you're still out there. You have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care. All right. Yeah, well, what I learned is there's a lot of people in my community, they care more about, winning another sports bet rather than getting free. It's more important to win the sports bet than to support the work and help us get free from the tyranny. So it's that George Orwell quote. It's right from 1984. All it took to fill up the horizons of their minds was football, beer, and gambling. All right, let's go out to 408. What's up, 408?
Hey, Zach, this is Evan again from OKC.
Hey, yeah, thanks for calling back, man. Thanks for coming out to OKC, too.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about a couple things. First off, I wanted to promote my YouTube channel. I've had a YouTube channel for a while, but it's been kind of, haven't been using it because I just haven't had a good computer to make videos with until recently. And I just made a video yesterday decoding the retirement of a hockey player. If you could, my YouTube channel is called Not a Sports Journalist. That's 4 words.
I got it. Not a sports journalist. I'm there. I'm subscribed. So. All
right, and the second thing, just I guess in regards to sports, today's the 131st day of the year, which is the 30-second prime, and there were 2.
Hold on, Evan. We got a commercial break. We'll be right back with Evan. Sit tight.
Okay, sorry.
The biggest poison in us is regret.
I think there are a lot of people that have dreams and aspirations of things that they always wanted to do, but it wasn't the right time, or they didn't have enough money, or they didn't have enough experience. It's never the right time. You're never going to have the right experience. And all of a sudden you wake up and you're 70. And you're like, God, I wish I could have done it.
It's what you don't do that screws with you later on.
I get one shot at this life. This is it. And I don't want to go through life being the 80% version of me. I don't want to look back and be like 77 and be like, I didn't do that. There's so much I want to do, and I love life so much, I don't want to miss it.
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Jim Ram, retired. In early 2012, I was facing a laundry list of chronic health conditions that my physician was telling me were incurable. I knew there had to be a better way, and I learned how I could reverse every one of my ailments with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. In just a few months, I was able to reverse high blood pressure, gastric reflux, sleep apnea, arthritis, degenerative disc disease, heart arrhythmia, AFib, and many more. And I've lost over 70 pounds and kept it off. Now I'm hosting a radio program that's dedicated to helping my listeners do the same. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you're sick of being used as an ATM by your doctor, then you'll want to tune into the Your DIY Health radio program here on Truth Frequency Radio every Thursday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern and 6 to 8 a.m. Pacific.
No hate. No hype. No fear. We are TFR. Frequency Radio.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. We got Evan on the line, and I've got in the mail George Orwell's first book, Burmese Days. And I'm just blown away, man. Sweet Lady. I've always known that Sweet Lady has the same birthday as George Orwell, but I didn't realize that George Orwell got inspired by his days in Burma. And what's funny is it begins in the month of April. Sweet Lady's name is May. Her favorite waitress in town, her name's also April, but what's funny is it starts in April, the lone 56th month, and it starts with him describing this man, and then it gets to the point right here on page 2, and it says, now at 56, he was a subdivisional magistrate, and he would probably be promoted still further and made an acting deputy commissioner with Englishmen as his equals and even his subordinates. Isn't it funny the first time it hits a number, it's 56? Sweet Lady will be into this book. It's talking about rupees and Rangoon. Rupees are their currency over there. George Orwell, member of the Fabian Society, and again, a man whose most famous book is named after a number in an infamous year, 1984, the same year that good Jesuit, speaking of Mr. 56, Anthony Fauci, has been the head of NIH since 1984. But yeah, it's just funny. So I'm going to have to read Burmese Days. I never knew that was an Orwell book. I've known about Animal Farm in 1984 forever, but somehow I've been sleeping on the fact that he had the Burma connection all these years. Amazing. All right, let's go back out to Evan. Evan came out and pounded pavement with us in Oklahoma City. He's got his own website. He's got, or I should say his own YouTube page. And it's up on the screen. It is not a sports journalist. But what's up, Evan?
One last thing I wanted to add is today's 131st day of the year, 32nd prime, and all of the playoff series in the NHL and NBA today became 3-2 in the series.
131, the 32nd prime, and yeah, I see what you're saying. 3-2, very, very interesting. Good one. Good one.
All right, I'll let other callers get on.
All right, appreciate it, Evan. Thanks for coming out to OKC.
Promotion.
Of course. You have a good night, friend. All right. That was one of the Oklahoma City participants. He's not in our big photo, though, because he wasn't there the day of the main event, but he came out for the weekend before the main event. Let's go out to Binghamton, New York, 607.
Yo, what's going on, Jack?
Hey, what's up?
I just want to get through a couple things real quick. The founding guitarist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, his name is Hillel Slovak. You might remember him. If you write Hillel Slovak, his name, in the most simple cipher, it's 138. And the day he died, June 25th, 1988, 6 plus 25 plus 19 plus 88, that's 138.
He died
and
on
was Jewish.
He died on George Orwell's birthday. So.
And he died 73 days from his birthday and sacrifices 73.
By the way, R.I.P.
So
to Bob Lanier. Bob Lanier's dead in the news today at age 73. He's dead on a 57 date numerology. Bob Lanier equals 57. He died while his college is 165 years old. If you don't use numerology, Bob Lanier is 165, and he's also dead at 73. We see so many people die in connection to that number. So, of course, the NBA playoffs are going on right now. He played for the Bucks, who are alive in the playoffs, and also the Pistons, who are not. So.
And applying this knowledge to things that are happening in the community. I just want to kind of be vague about this. Big deaths in the community, like actually huge deaths in the community. Applying this knowledge to them, it's undeniable. So basically, I kind of have a question and like a few more comments. Because, for example, one of the key events that I'm talking about that's happened in the community is someone dying 71 days after their 20th birthday.
Who's that?
Like that's, I'd want to be vague. Because the thing is, it's so undeniable, I don't want to get sued. Like someone, like I don't want to get like a lawsuit for just like completely exposing. Because that's just one thing happened. One person died 71 days from their 20th birthday. And it was a suspicious death. And this is undeniable. But here's another one. Another thing happened after this, and someone died 38 days from their 20th birthday. And this was another suspicious death, dying 38 days from their 20th birthday.
When you say people in this community, do you mean people who are like doing gematria decodes?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. My community.
Oh, I see. Okay, where you live. I see.
Where I live. Yeah, that's not like the gematria community. Like the community that I live in.
Okay, in New York.
And so one was 71 days from the 20th birthday. Another was 38 days from the 20th birthday. Another was the killer. It was 20 days from the killer's birthday. And on top of that, it was a police officer. And there's a laundry list of 77s. It was 77 days from his birthday. Police department, 77. Police officer, 77. The killer, it was 20 days from his birthday. And the killer had an accomplice. And the accomplice's nickname equals 20. And, man, just key deaths, like, in this community. And when I'm saying in this community, it's, like, this area that I live in. And, like, I want to, like, do something about it. Because, dude, I gotta tell you some of this stuff. Like, there's like, in my city, there was a big shooting on April 3rd, 2009. A big shooting. Like, it was on the world news. And if you type in the Gematrinator, Binghamton shooting, it equals 93. And April 3rd is the 93rd day of the year. Now, the police chief at the time is still the police chief now. And from that big shooting on April 3rd, 2009, until the suspicious death with the police chief's son was 3,008 days, dude. Like, so I'm proving that all this, like, these big deaths and stuff, like, they're all fucking staged. And how do I go about that is the question. Because, like, I'm coming for these motherfuckers' throats with this knowledge. Like, this knowledge just blows the cap. Another death, for example, just, like, here in the community, the person's birthday was the 137th day of the year. And the person who killed this person was 33, dude. Just undeniable. Every big story in this area, like, real big story, and you apply the code to that, bro, it just blows the doors off it. So, like, it's scary. I kind of just stick to sports because, like, how am I going to go and say, like, that this fucking death was a hoax? This death was a hoax. And, like, man, it's just crazy, bro.
Well, nobody's saying they're a hoax. Again, there's a song out there called Murder by Numbers and another one called Gematria the Killing Name. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been pointing out that this stuff seems to go on in their local communities, too. I mean, we've been talking about this for years, so I appreciate the additional examples.
How much can I...
Sure, again, you're doing the research there. We don't have any names
say?
or dates, so this is all personal to you. But I mean, you have to think about how your call. Like other people are like, well, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what person. I don't know what day. He's just. So anyway, again, it's nothing new to understand, but yeah, that we've been discussing this for years. It does seem to happen in people's communities as well. And again, Murder by Numbers, Gematria, the killing name. Check out the song. So.
All right. The question is, how do I, besides getting like a bunch of civilians to realize what's going on, which probably isn't going to happen, how myself, like, how far can I go? Like, because can you get sued for defamation for trying to prove deaths are wrong? Like, can that happen?
I don't think you could get defamation if you're like asking for the police report and trying to get more information and talk to people. I mean, you're essentially just being an independent investigator. You're a private eye. So, speaking of which, I just made a records request today. I just made a records request from a police department here in Linden, Washington, because the young girl from Toddlers and Tiaras, who was a national story for the suicide, I didn't realize it was in a small town in Washington State. And I was talking about it being on the 122nd day of the year. That town's also on the 122nd meridian. And the mom's come out and said it's the mom that confirmed it was a suicide. The police report, according to the news, is vague and just says it has nothing and just says a juvenile died. But I made a request for the police report to see it with my own eyes. And I'm debating on going up to the town of Linden, Washington, which is just a little tiny town with 10,000 people in it. And just seeing what people in the town think. So, anyway, I'm glad you're doing the work. But, yeah, again, what you're saying, it's nothing new. We've been pointing out the same types of things for years. So I appreciate you doing the research, though, man. Thank you.
Yeah, like the point really wasn't like that I'm bringing new stuff to the table. It's that like now that you know without a doubt like what's going on, now besides like letting it, man, it's just because if the fucking police are the ones doing the shit, like how are they gonna listen to you? Like, you know, it's like if the judges are all like, all this shit's fucking, like, all on the same team, like, how the fuck can you get justice unless, like, you have enough people, like, in your community that know what's going on? Like, man, it's fucked. But all right, dude.
All right. Have a good night. Yeah, again, we're probably never going to get justice from the justice system. Again, it's about waking enough people up to what's going on and how corrupt the authorities are and why we need to overthrow the authorities. I mean, that's always the point. Let's go out to, I believe, DK Stonewood. What's up, DK?
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Hey, man.
I'm in the car. Hold on, I gotta look at my little list. Okay, got it. I just want to piggyback a little bit about what Rambo was talking about for tonight. I guess maybe that was part of the, like, organic code or Freudian coincidence. You've been talking about Austin Powers and It's a Man, Baby, and Rambo brings up Serena Williams. So yeah, he's right about the MK. It's like it's MK instead of MC because of the mind controla. It's the same in Croatian, controla. And there's actually a brand of speakers called MK speakers. MK Ultra was one of their lines, and that's what like all the major studios are equipped with. Like I think George Lucas was the first one to put it in his studio when they came out with THX. I'm not 100% on that, but I remember when I was looking for my home theater stuff years ago, and you know I kind of was researching different speakers, and I looked into they're a very digitized sounding speaker compared to like the rest of the audiophile community is looking for things that sound very
DK, you cut out.
I cut out?
Yeah, you came back.
All right, am I back? Am I back?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, also what he was talking about, like, how they mind control these people, like he was talking about the Nazis after World War II and actually during and prior. The movie Clockwork Orange, I don't know if people are familiar with that one. That's a great one for, like, mind control. The plot of the movie is like they're trying like correctional type of treatment on the guy, but it's actually that's how a lot of these celebrities get programmed through different types of stuff like that. And then he was also talking about them making like psychotic killers and stuff like that with different like substances. And then you had the movie Jacob's Ladder, where they make those. They were testing it on soldiers, of course, and they gave them some stuff that was supposed to make them like super aggressive. And the whole plot of the movie is they killed each other instead of killing the enemy. And then another movie that shows this substance stuff was like Shutter Island with DiCaprio, where he's a guy who finds out like about government corruption. They stick him on this island. It could be an allegory for Guantanamo Bay. And then, you know, the lady's like, are you smoking their cigarettes? Are you drinking their coffee? Are you drinking their Are you out of your mind? You probably are already gone. And he's sitting there looking at her like, what? Like, you know, so that's another good movie that shows that. God, I can't even see what I've written down here. Oh, yes, here we go. So when the Church of Satan was started by LaVey, and I think it was Jay Solomon, or the guy that spells his name backwards from Jay Solomon, Yaz Nomalos, there was a guy in there from, you know, U.S. military intelligence called Michael Aquino. So this guy's in the Church of Satan, but yet he's in U.S. military intelligence, and then he decided that, you know, the Church of Satan wasn't a like aggressive enough form of Satanism for him, so he went ahead and started the Temple of Set, which was supposed to be like a more aggressive form of, you know, Satanism than the LaVeyan Satanism. And then Michael Aquino, he's the main like mind controller down in the China Lake base, where probably a lot of these celebrities are going to get like MK Ultra. This was kind of shown in movies with this is where they were doing like all the experiments on Wolverine in the X-Men series, like underneath, you know, they have the base underneath the lake, and that's literally, then they used some of the actual, like, it wasn't even like a set they had to put up. They actually did some of the scenes down there and used some of the technology that the military industrial complex has. That's all I got written down. I just took a little list that I jotted down right now with me in the car as I jumped in. So there's barely any show left. I'll let some other people get in. We'll talk about other stuff next time.
All right. Well, I appreciate it as always. Yeah, for all the people out there who've never seen A Clockwork Orange, another Stanley Kubrick film that's definitely an eye-opener. So appreciate it.
All right. Have a great night and rest of the show.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you. All righty, let's go out to New York City, 646.
Hi, Zach. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Yeah, so good. I'm glad you had a great time in OKC. I watched all the footage. It was really great and very eye-opening. Can't wait until you come to New York City and raise hell with Etsy.
Yes. Yes,
so
indeed.
There's like 3 things I want to run through real quick, because I know there's not much left of the show. So I don't know if you were able to catch the Met Gala, the garbage with that. Their theme this year was the Gilded Age. I think that has to do with Downtown Abbey. So gilded means golden. So I saw a lot of female celebs dressed in like gold, sequin, and whatnot. And I remember back to the Oscars with Will Smith, and they kind of zoomed in on Lupita Nyong'o with her dress. It's golden as well. So I know it's really a weird connect, but I just double checked, and like Will Smith's next big movie, I think, is supposed to be he plays a slave, and it's a movie called Emancipation. And guess what? His character's name is Peter, which is English for the Greek Petros, rock. So I thought that was really interesting. And this ties into also Rambo's decode on the Oscar ritual. I know he brought up like it was a heart ritual, and you know the heart chakra is colored green. And I know this is a weird connect, but that kind of also ties in a weird way to Elon Musk, because like I don't know if many people know that his father owned like an emerald mine in apartheid South Africa. So that in a weird way I thought kind of connects to the Oscar ritual. And you see Elon Musk in the news now all over with his emerald mine connection, because I think that's how his dad really made his true wealth. But the news don't really want to, the mainstream media doesn't really go into that. And then real quick, I know I don't know if you watch any of the Marvel shows. It's like predictive programming on Fleek, right? So their latest show, Moon Knight, actually kind of ties into Queen Elizabeth in a weird way, because I remember you mentioned her real name. I think Elizabeth's real name is Elizabeth Alexandra
Mary.
Something. Mary, right? And I know in Moon Knight, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I'll say it anyway, that in the show, they discovered the lost sarcophagus of the lost pharaoh, which is Alexander the Great. And here's another weird connect. The guy who composed the score for Moon Knight, he actually composed the score for the Pharaoh Parade that was like a week before Prince Philip died. So it's a really weird connect. I know there's not much time left in the show, but I just thought I'd throw it out there.
I appreciate it.
It's a lot I threw out all at once.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
No problem, Zach.
All right. I look forward to New York. You have a good night. Thank you for the call.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. 509, somewhere near me. What's going on, 509?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, Zach. Man, I can't believe this is only my, I don't want to say third call, but I've been following the community for about 5 years now. But I've been trying to get a hold of you for a minute now, and hopefully you can still hear me well. Or do I need to speak up? Or
I can hear you. You're good.
Okay, perfect. So I'm with my sweet lady right now, and I now call my girl sweet lady, of course. I've been watching you way too much, man. I swear you're the only person that I've ever followed. But the Kentucky Derby and my parents were here this weekend, okay? And I rarely get to see my parents. I live in Idaho, and I'm in Spokane, and we wanted to bet. So sweet lady and I did our second decode ever, and she, of course, the only star in her notes after 2 hours was Rich Strike. So that was kind of nice, but I was kind of wanting to go over a few things that I thought everybody missed that we were very shocked about as far as that goes. And after that, I got one more question, and then I'll be done, okay? So at that race, we only decoded it the day of. I guess they barely inserted Rich Strike. When did Rich Strike come in?
The night before. It was the only horse that had a name that equaled 57, like the date of the race, 5-7. Go ahead.
Exactly. That's okay. Okay. So I told my sweet lady, look, the day of the race is very important. It is May 7th, so we're looking for 5-7, but also it's the 127th day of the fucking year. And the only thing I know about 127 is everything you taught me about 127, which is buildings 1, 2, and 7 on 9/11, and Pearl Harbor was December 7th, 12/7. And then I look at the rest of the Wikipedia for that day, and we see that it's the anniversary of the establishment of Sony. And so sweet lady and our eyes got big, and I got to the horses' names, and I'm like, this is the biggest ritual I've ever seen, you guys. At the center, Tis the Bomb, Crown Pride, Mo Donegal. And I told my mom about it. She's like, well, look here, Grandpa says, our grandpa taught us everything we know about horse racing, and he said whenever there's a break in the numbers, like when a horse gets scratched, the horse on top of the break or below the break always put some money on, and that kind of just ultimately sealed it for Rich Strike. other than the fact that there was nothing on the jockey. That made our eyes really big. The fact that how they hit him made our eyes so big. But the Sony Leone on the anniversary of Sony and what Japan means to Pearl Harbor, and then the names of the horses, I was like, oh my gosh, Epicenter, it sounds like Ground Zero. Tis the bomb. I'm like, okay, so the first thing that has to happen is the bomb has to hit. The bomb has to hit or the plane hit. And then Rich Strike had all the Illuminati numbers, 120, 150, 69. The only horse that had 5-7. I was like, are you kidding me? But yeah, she also got Scotty Scheffler on the very first decode we made. But my sweet Lodi is a lawyer, and she really, really wants to help out big time. And we're trying to come up with some ideas for how to help organize with the community, as well as I finally bought a computer yesterday to start making my own videos. So
very cool.
Sorry, I was rambling because I was kind of nervous, but I hope you heard all that.
I did. Yeah, great research.
Yeah.
I think technically the jockey's name was Sonny, but it is close to Sony because you're saying that's the anniversary. It is always a big riddle. So
exactly.
Yeah, well done. Congratulations. Kept it super simple. The only horse with the name that matched the date. So, and again, that's how they rob the public, because again, all week people are betting on the 20 horses that are out there. Late substitution right before the race, and what do you know? It takes home the W. So, well done.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Yeah. Have a good night. And unfortunately, the music's about to kick in. We're about out of show. Sorry to everyone online who I didn't get to. We will be back next week. And again, you guys, the time is now. We got to start organizing and fighting back. See you next week. All right, that is the end of the show on TFR. Again, I can't control the commercial breaks or the music. It's all automated. I just speak in the gaps. But let me check in with the chat. Let me say thank you to the super chatters real quick. I do believe there were 3 separate $5 donations. Yeah, I see the basketball game that's going on. How do you get down 50 points when you're leading the series 3-1? How can you show up and be that bad in the night? And it's funny, somebody's got the post up on Free to Find Truth. ESPN earlier in the day, Warriors lead 3-2. The Warriors were up 3-1. They tonight, because they lost, they lead the series 3-2. But notice, you can see down below, if you can make it out in that graphic, you can see it's the NBA ticker. It says tonight at 9:30 Eastern's the game, but they've already adjusted what the outcome is. And if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Memphis Grizzlies have that 131 connection? Yeah, Grizzlies is 131. Today's the 131st day of the year, so they blow out the Warriors despite being down 3-1. Today they have a blowout. I forget if there's another connection with that. Okay, but Grizzlies is 131, the 32nd prime. Now the series is 3-2, and ESPN, they showed you before the game was played that the Warriors somehow had already lost the game and now led the series 3-2. So skeptics will be like, I'm sure it was just a mistake. Okay. I'm pretty sure that ESPN's one of the main people in charge of scripting the games and writing the storylines. It's how they always got everything so picture perfect. The game ends instantly. They got the right caption with the right gematria. That's the number of the game, which when we're decoding Sports Daily, I mean, if for anyone who's been with us when we decode Sports Daily, again, the numbers we talk about for the game, so often that ends up being the score of the game, the difference in the score of the game, the emphasized phrase, the leading scores points. It's just, this stuff's so scripted, you guys. It's ridiculous. Anybody can prove it if they just take the time to use the knowledge. Like, shout out to Mr. Futures in the chat. He's been torching people with the gematria knowledge, torching the bookies. And he's always done a really great job of teaching the knowledge. And, some people wonder why I don't like him, and some people wonder why I endorse others. Again, I endorse people like Victor because he has a good attitude. He's always been a class act with the knowledge, and he's not making videos saying stupid stuff like, well, I learned from Zach, but I think his whole date numerology is a stupid. Like, there's a moron out there saying this right now, and it's like, are you serious? Date numerology is stupid? It's half the code. I mean, here, let me just show you with Bob Lanier to make a point. I mean, it's just unbelievable that anybody'd be saying this. And then they wonder why I don't promote him. It's like, of course I'm not going to promote you. You're a lying moron who's making the work look bad. But notice, Bob Lanier, 57. What day is he dead? May 10th, 2022, a date with 57 numerology. And it's this way all the time. The day before this, YSL, 56. 56 indictment. 56 charges in an indictment against YSL members on the date numerology. I mean, it's just, you know, we endorse Victor, we don't endorse clowns. So that's the way it is. You don't hear Victor getting on the tube saying things that are clowny, you know. Anyway. R.I.P. to Bob Lanier, though. His university, St. Bonaventure, turns 165 years old this year. And, it's in its 165th year of age. And it was also a date with a lesser date numerology of 37. And he played for 2 teams in his career, Milwaukee and Detroit, both 37. He's dead at 73, the reflection. Sacrifice and Ritual, Sacrifice, 73. Would you believe that Bob Lanier's dead 38 years after exiting the NBA in 84? 38 years later. Death, Murder, Killing, RIP, 38. He's dead 30 years after entering the Hall of Fame for the NBA. 30 teams in the NBA, the National Basketball Association 113, the 30th prime. So, they said Bob Lanier wore size 22 shoes. Basketball 22, dead in 22. And again, just so many stories just like this from pro sports. I mean, and again, another Catholic educated athlete. Catholic Jesuit educated athletes dominate the world of professional sports. So, and again, Milwaukee, who he played for, they come with the upset tonight as a dog on the road. So, all right, hold on. I still got to say thank you to the super chatters. MRB, thank you for the $5 donation. Again, he also called in tonight. Dr. James Giordano, Jesuit-educated neuroscientist. We were looking him up. He teaches at Georgetown. He's attempting to get 50 subs to pound pavement and spread truth and conscious awareness. Wait, I bet that's the second part of your post, and you're attempting to get 50 subs. I know you can only write so many words. Here, let's see if we can find MRB's channel. Let's see what happens when we search MRB. He's not that vlogs person. That's not his avatar. You might want to change your channel name to something else, because there's a lot of stuff coming up under MRB. Let me look at his avatar one more time. His avatar is a black circle with the letters MR and then RB. MR going horizontal, RB going vertical. Let's see. Do we see that? MRB. Yeah, you're gonna want to do something. MRB something else. That's not quite right. The MRB is very common for whatever reason. There's a lot of MRBs out there. So these are good things to research when you're creating a channel name. Because again, you want a name that stands out. So, man, I'm blown away by how many MRBs are out there. Who knew? Are these the most popular initials in the world? I'm sure it's here somewhere. I'm like, okay, I've already gone. There it is. We found it. There it is. Okay. This is MRB's channel. Let me put it. Yeah, I'll put it. If you're on Free to Find Truth, I'll put it right there. MRB's channel. So it's posted on Free to Find Truth. And I'll also post it in the chat, but I swear when things get posted in the chat, when you try to click on it, the link doesn't work. So it is in the chat. Okay. Hess85. Thank you for the $5 donation. King Sosa with a $3 donation. Thank you. LAF with two $1 donations. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I think we'll leave it there. I'm debating on doing a little road trip up to the Washington-Canada border. Here, let me see what you guys think in the chat. The town is super small. There's no nice weather at any point in the near forecast, so I might have to rough it out in the cool wet. But again, we covered this. We covered this at the beginning of the month. A reported suicide of a reality TV star, a young woman who made it when she was younger on the show Toddlers and Tiaras. She was only 16 and supposedly committed suicide. When I covered this, I didn't realize that she died in Washington State because that wasn't initially part of the reporting. But remember, this news broke on May 3rd, the 123rd day of the year. Her name in the most simple cipher is 123, like conspiracy. And the show she's a part of, Toddlers and Tiaras, it has that infamous 67 gematria. Her mother's Marcy Posey Gatterman, whose name equals 86. Remember, when you flip it around, blood sacrifice and human sacrifice go from 67 to 86. It's the mom who's the source that she committed suicide, and I also imagine it was the mom who's the reason that she made it on this reality TV show, because it would have been her putting her young daughter in beauty pageants. And it just makes you wonder. The daughter found dead at a park under suspicious circumstances with a very vague police report, but the mom wants everybody to know it was a suicide. And we were talking about how she died on the 122nd day of the year, where satanic is 67, like the show name, forwards, and 122 in reverse. Well, now that I found out that she died in this... She's from Linden, Washington, and the park she was found dead in is also on the 122nd meridian. Remember, that's the same meridian that cuts through Seattle, San Francisco, Portland, all the big cities in the northwest portion of the U.S. San Francisco is kind of like the central west. But anyway, all three of the big cities on the west coast above Los Angeles are all on the 122nd meridian west. And we call that the Satanic Meridian because that's, the Church of Satan was established on the 122nd meridian in San Francisco, which equals 122. But the town where the park is Blaine, Washington, which is 119, like Toddlers, like her name Kaylia, like suicide. And she died on the 13th day of her age, and her reality show was on the Learning Channel, which equals 91, the 13th triangular. And then the other thing that jumps out is her hometown of Linden. It was established in 1874, and as we know, 74 is the killing number. There's that song, Gematria, the killing name. Again, the long 74 list, English, Gematria, Occult, Masonic, Jewish, they're all 74. Again, it's the Society of Jesus behind all this. Jesus, Cross, Messiah, Gospel, Parables, they're all 74. Jesus, Killing, the Cross, Holiday, Lucifer, London, Linden, Killing, they're all 74. And again, the town of Linden, established in 1874. Town was officially incorporated March 16th. 16-3, 163, 38th prime. But anyway, I'm debating on going up to this town. I did do a request today. I sent this to the police department for the records because I want to see if the police report's really as vague as it was reported to be in the media. I mean, it says that there's nothing explained. All it just says is there's a juvenile death and the time of the death. But again, she was found dead in a park, and the mom came out and said it was definitely a suicide. So I don't know. Part of me just wonders, is that really what happened? A lot of suspicious suicides this year. Some people will think just by default that because the parents said that it must be true. But again, I'm not sure about show business. And as sociopathic and as shitty as most people are in our society, I just... The one thing I wouldn't want to do, though, is if it really is a suicide, if that really is what happened, and it just turns out it worked out perfectly by the numbers, and she was just happened to be the perfect story on the 123rd day of the year, I wouldn't want to add extra grief to the family or the town, because it is a small, tiny little town. But if people have questions and wonder, it would be interesting to go there and do some additional research. So when I get the police report back, assuming they send it to me, I will, I'll make my decision. But yeah, it's about a 4-hour drive each way from where I am. It's right at the border of Canada. So, and if I do go out there, I'll also make a pit stop because Seattle's on the way. So, have to do some pavement pounding in Seattle. I'm kind of tempted to go out to Seattle right now with all the abortion stuff going on and see if we can wake up some people to the way they're getting played. Just how easy it is for people to be taken by the agendas that are clearly all done by the numbers. And keep in mind that this was the headline on May 3rd, 5-3. 53 is the 16th prime, a 16-year-old. The way certain numbers always come together. So, but yeah, it might be another venture to see if we can get any feedback, any interesting. You never know. Maybe you're out on the corner, somebody who knows something stops by and talks to you. And then maybe the next thing you know, Google takes down your live stream 5 seconds later because they don't want that information out there. If you guys forget, when I was out on the corner of Yakima, there was a person who came up to me one day and just started naming names, corrupt police officers, judges in the town, murders he knew they were connected to. And next thing you knew, the whole live stream was down and deleted. And I was like, wow. I guess the feds are watching, man. I guess the feds are watching. So, you just never know when you're out on the street who you're going to run into. So, and when they took the stream down like 10 minutes after that guy dropped all that information, and that also happened, there was another woman, it was like a month later, a woman came up and started sharing similar information, and that stream also got taken down. I was like, somebody is watching this, and they're verifying like these names, and somehow this is checking out, because these streams are just getting dropped as soon as I'm talking to these people on the street. So, yeah, about Friday. Friday's Friday the 13th, and here I'll just make a note about what could happen this Friday as well. So, let me see. May 13th, 2022. Let me try it if this will bring up the post. Okay, so here's what's interesting about this Friday the 13th. Remember November 13th, which was a Friday the 13th, the Paris attacks in France? And a lot of people didn't get it, but that's what I educated about that day when that happened. I said, the reason this matters is because the Friday the 13th superstition goes back to France. That's when the Knights Templar were burned at the stake. And from that Friday the 13th incident to this May 13th, which is also a Friday, is 78 months. As we know, Jesuit 78. The Jesuit logo has the Templar cross in it. It's also 339 weeks, and United States of America is 339. And that day will be the 183rd day of the Superior General's Age. Order out of chaos equals 183 and 78. And it will be 205 days after Kamala's birthday. Just as it's got the U.S. numbers, I thought I'd look at the president and the vice president. Knights Templar equals 205. 205 days after Kamala's birthday. For Biden, it's 174 days after his birthday. New World Order is 174. It is the 133rd day of the year. Government, president, White House, they're all 133. But the thing about it being May 13th, 13/5, like 135, terrorism equals 135. Central Intelligence Agency is also 135. And, you know, we know that these people are very ritualistic and festive, and there's been plenty of Friday the 13th that have passed in the time I've been doing this where, you know, it wasn't any big news story that day or anything really out of the ordinary. But I just wonder, in light of how this lines up with the Paris, because that's what dawned on me at first. My first thought was, well, it's 13/5, and that's the terrorism number. And I was like, well, let's see how it lines up with Paris. And I was like, wow, okay, 78 months, 339 weeks. Those are interesting numbers. Those are order out of chaos and numbers that relate to this nation. The band, the Queen, it wasn't Queens of the Stone Age, but the guy that created Queens of the Stone Age, they were the ones playing at that Bataclan Theater. Josh Homme. He had the Caius band too. But yeah, anyway, I think in light of the alignment here, it's not unlikely that there will be some active terrorism reported, and possibly here in the U.S. again. Again, just so many agendas working on us at once. They still occasionally, we're not getting nearly as much of that as we were, around 2015. There was a lot more of the Islamic terrorism still going on in the post 9/11 agenda as we're fighting the wars in the Middle East. But it seems as that agenda's wound down. They focused more on COVID and school shootings and cyber attacks and transgender and now abortion. I mean, they always got some issue to keep people fixated on and divided by and afraid of. And right now there's a lot at once, but do they mix back in some Islamic terrorism? Or I suppose it could be domestic terrorism, which is becoming the greater focus at the moment. But yeah, I won't be surprised if we got a terrorism headline this Friday. So Eagles of Death Metal. You're right. That's exactly what band it was. The Eagles of Death Metal. Yeah, indeed. Anthony C. Davidson does. I don't think it's Davidson. I think it's Davison. So like without that middle D. But he's on Twitter, and whenever I see his Twitter posts, I'm pretty much always resharing them. I might miss some of them, but Anthony C. Davison. Wait, where is it? Where's this post at? What in the world? Oh, it's right here. This is him, Anthony Davison on Twitter. Anthony Davison at Anthony C. Davison. So he posts on Twitter. And his posts are great because they're like this. He packs in a lot of information on a nice visual. He does a really great job with his posts. So he also almost anytime Rambo does a post on GematriaEffectNews, he does a follow-up post under Rambo's post in the comment section. I missed this. So yeah, I got to go through his Twitter and go through everything I missed, because pretty much everything this guy posts is gold. A professor did a gematria decode on Kamala Harris, and he found this. Interesting. I wonder if they were at LSU. We were getting some LSU. We had some LSU professors going, but they didn't want to be on camera to talk about it. They're like, "Oh, I'm not sure we'll get to keep our jobs if we do that." So, but yeah, all his work is great. Yeah, it looks like I've missed some posts, but they're all top notch. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think we'll leave it there for tonight. And just making sure I didn't miss anything important in the chat first. The Outlaw X says, make sure I see something. Friday the 13th in Satanic Gematria equals 513, huh? Interesting. Again, there are other ciphers. For people who don't know what Satanic Gematria is, don't be scared by the name. What's really interesting about this cipher is if you write out Satanic Gematria, it equals 666. And that's extra interesting because if you look at how the cipher works, it begins with A is 36 and just counts up from there. And 36 is 666 is the 36th triangular number. But this person said if you write out Friday the 13th, it does equal 513, huh? That's wild. That's wild. Well, between now and then, we can look up the last time Friday the 13th fell on May 13th. See what happened on that day in history. There's got to be a way to do that. I don't know if I've actually ever tried to do that, though, before, but there's got to be a way to do it. When was the last time May 13th fell on a Friday? Friday the 13th occurs 1 to 3 times each year in many countries around the world. Okay. This is kind of cool, though. Just it goes forward showing the dates. In 2025, it's going to fall on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. 2025, going to be a year. Well, if it can track it forward, there must be... It looks like 2011. Let's see. What day of the week was May 13th, 2011? It was a Friday, so it happened 11 years ago. Let's see. News headlines, May 13th, 2011. The Bahraini uprising. The Bahraini government tortures doctors into confessions of trying to overthrow the monarchy by aiding wounded civilians who protested during the uprising. The Yemeni uprising. 3 people are killed and 18 others are wounded as troops shoot at medics, witnesses, and people protesting against the Salah regime in Ibn Taiz and Sanana. I don't know how to say it. The Syrian uprising. So they had all these uprisings in the Middle East on that day. Makes me think of the Knights Templar. They used to be big down there. Again, that Friday the 13th is originally associated with them. All right. So Syrian uprising. The Libyan civil war. A video shows 11 dead imams and 45 wounded Muslim holy men. So this is 11 years ago. So what happened in Libya was allegedly blamed on a NATO strike. And remember when Gaddafi got killed, you could see that the people that killed him were all in NATO-issued gear. They tried to make it seem like it was an uprising against him. Upon speculation that Gaddafi was injured in a NATO airstrike, Libyan state TV released an audio tape of what it claims to be Gaddafi giving a message saying that he was not hurt and is alive. Egyptian revolution. There was a lot going on in the world that day. Pretty much all, Middle East, Northern Africa. 10 years into the 9/11 agenda, 2011. This is 11 years ago. Petrol bomb attack in Gansu in China. Catholic priest Father Musi Zarari alleges that as many as 400 people, mainly Eritreans, are being held for ransom by human traffickers in the Sinai Desert. Charsana bombing. 80 people were killed when 2 suicide bombs exploded in the Frontier Constabulary Training Center in Charsana district of Pakistan. Well, there's your terrorism on that day. Sounds like really all of these were different acts of terrorism. Don't forget the original definition of terrorism is government by intimidation. But I won't be surprised if history repeats itself 11 years later. Disasters that day. Japan's government approves a compensation plan to assist with the tens of billions of dollars for those affected by the malfunctions of the country's tsunami-crippled nuclear plant. That was Fukushima on March 11th. A funeral mass occurs in Murcia following the fatal disaster from the Wednesday 2 days earlier. That would have been May 11th, like today's Wednesday, May 11th. Bad bus accident in Toronto. Envoy representing the U.S. in the Middle East resigns. Vietnam unveils 5-year plan to tackle prostitution. Nine decapitated corpses, including that of a deputy prison governor, are located by police in Durango, northwest Mexico. A 62-year-old British woman is beheaded in a supermarket of the Spanish island of Tenerife. Probably mutilating so many of these pronunciations. A referendum in Bosnia. FIFA president Sepp Blatter fears being plunged into a black hole. Okay. Pope Benedict tells Roman Catholic bishops around the world they must obey Summorum Pontificum, a papal order allowing priests to say the old-style Tridentine Mass, regardless of their opinion on it. The Roman Catholic Church in England and Wales announces the reinstatement of the rule of abstaining from eating red meat on Fridays, last observed in 1984 before the 2011 decision. Well, it was definitely an eventful day in world history, so if history repeats itself 11 years later in 22, I guess we'll know why. May 2016, Zach. Are you saying May 2016 was also Friday the 13th? What day of the week was May 13th, 2016? Also in 2016, okay. Let's see. All right, let's check it out. So that was 6 years ago. May 13th, 2016 in the news. Obama administration tells schools to allow transgender bathroom access and more. Have you guys seen the states that are like putting tampons in the male bathrooms for schools? Because this is happening. And I'm guessing this has something to do with, you know, before long, certain states are going to say you can just use whatever bathroom you want to use. And I got to imagine that's going to make things awkward for a lot of people. Paul Ryan, remember how he just fell off the face of the earth? If you guys never saw my work on Paul Ryan, his daddy was found dead when he was a young man by the numbers. And he went high in politics, and then he seemed to just drop out of it. I don't know, maybe he saw my decode on his dad. Obama administration will tell school districts to allow transgender bathroom access. So that was 6 years ago today. Pope Francis calls for study on whether women should be Catholic deacons. And Republicans win court case on some Obamacare spending. 133rd day of the year. Remember, President, White House, government, all 133. By the way, there was a lot of Trump in the news today. Today on May 11th, 2022. Remember, when he entered office, he entered with the 115th Congress and the upcoming presidential election. The next one in 2024 is on November 5th, which can also be written 11/5. And he went on his thank you tour. If you missed his headline today, he was ordered to pay $110,000 by a judge. And as we know, president's 110. Brazil's Rousseff likens impeachment to coup. Secret Service investigating former Trump butler for anti-Obama posts. Again, president stuff, right, on the 133rd day of the year. It was an 84-year-old being investigated. Okay. Remember, Obama's birthday is 84. Explosion kills top Hezbollah military commander in Syria. Okay, so terrorism-related stuff on 13/5. Navy reassigns commander of sailors detained by Iran. Zimmerman, of course, the Trayvon Martin thing. Air Force general becomes first woman to lead U.S. Combat Command. Zimmerman's gun auction is what it was. Okay. Well, it was a lot more eventful 11 years ago based on what we just saw than what happened in 2016. Probably be better for the world if we had a milder day like this, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't remember this. I just saw another news story. Jimmy Kimmel announced a VP run on May 13th, 2016. That had to have been a joke, right? Jimmy Kimmel announces VP run. Why don't I remember this? I don't remember this. I do not remember. I remember he had his beef with Trump. But think about it. The 133rd day of the year, right? Presidential. I remember Jimmy Kimmel was after Trump at that time. Okay, so. But yeah, I get it. I get why. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to see if it works like this on my old site. I would have been posting on this site back then. This is back before we knew reverse gematria. Didn't work. May 13th. Mr. Teamer became interim president on May 13. 110 days before today. President's 110. You know what? You know why I didn't catch the president thing yet with that May 13th news? Because look at what Cipher President's 130. So, see, I mean, that's what's funny when you go back and look at my old work. And again, for all the people who are like, oh, yeah, but you're running it forwards and blah, 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 blah. It's just like, can you guys just shut up? You don't know what you're talking about. Just like back then, I didn't know reverse, so I didn't catch how the president thing fit in with the 133rd day of the year, but then he's in the news 110 days later. Just like how today, Trump's having to pay $110,000. As the headlines talk about, former president ordered to pay $110,000 by judge. And you know, here it is right here, because back then we knew it forwards. So I was showing, you know, government and White House are 133. Just didn't have that reverse yet. And then it was 133 days from the birthday as well there. Again, and it's about a president. So I'm sure it's all just a coincidence. But yeah, I mean, that's how it always is when I go back and look at my old work. I always see like 5 more things that I catch today that I didn't know back then, so. Money Monster, May 13th, 2016. Money Monster with Jodie Foster, George Clooney. I never saw this movie, so I remember they let out the assassin around the same time that was obsessed with her. All these old posts, man. They did a lot of stuff with the Budweiser can back then by the numbers. Okay, but yeah, anyway, it's 2 days away. We'll see what happens this year. We know they got rituals every day. Friday the 13th, just a little bit more special to them, so we'll see what they got. And again, if you guys aren't signed up for Free to Find Truth, be sure to sign up. People are always posting interesting stuff on here. Alrighty, Truth Seeker. We'll leave it there. Thank you again to everyone who tuned in tonight. Thank you everyone to hit the like and the share. And I'm sure I'll be back bright and early tomorrow. There's always something new to get right to work with, you know. These people never stop. So, till next time, everybody.